Hi, friend, and welcome into the firm of Harris and Marang. Patrick Harris with you. That chair is still empty over there. Casey Smith back there on the ones and twos. Dan will be back on Thursday, so we're just hanging out here with just the duo once again here today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I believe Joe Fisher will join the show tomorrow, so we'll have him, and we'll figure it out as we go along. Hello, Casey.
How we doing, boss?
It's been a long time since I've seen you, amigo.
It's been a whole, 12 hours?
13 hours, something like that.
It's been a good one.
It's been a good one. Yeah.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was fine. Let's see. What did I do? I went out we had date night on Saturday, me and the wife.
Nice.
Watched the Timbers game.
There you go. Got herself a point against LAFC.
Yeah, nice little point. A little dodgy there at the end of that game, but we'll take it.
I got worried in that 73rd minute.
I got really worried. I got really worried too, but we're all good there. And then, yesterday we went to the Marang wedding. Nice little wedding, dare I say.
It was really cute.
I had a nice time. I probably pre-funked more than I should have, but that's what happens.
It happens.
Beautiful venue.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Really, really pretty outside, and nice drive on the way down there. Yeah, we had a good time.
Her vows were fantastic.
Her vows definitely stole the show.
Danny needed a mic.
I know, we couldn't hear him. What's that about? Now, I can't.
The producer problems.
Now, I can't critique too hard on that, simply because my wife and I, during our wedding, we did our vows to each other unmiked, did them very privately. So unfortunately, everybody had to sit around and wait for us to finish, but we were very, very quick about it.
That's good.
So, but she was excellent. It might have been where we were sitting too. We were had perfect spot to hear her, to where we were not in a perfect spot to hear him.
Yeah, his back was to us. So.
Yeah, but we hear him every day, so we're good.
We're good on that. But yeah, it was really sweet. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
If you're curious, the desserts were excellent. I had some of them macarons. Those were really, really good.
Cupcakes and cookies. Fire.
Really, really good. Some decent wine out there, too.
Pretty good.
I had a nice time with your partner. She is wonderful.
As I did yours.
Thank you. It's nice that we bump up in that category.
It's very well that we swing up. It's nice.
Your girl's tall.
Yeah. I have to be careful when she wears heels.
Yeah.
I got to stand up a lot straighter.
Too tall for me, man. I can't be looking up at people.
Again, I let her know this a lot. I'm like, every time you wear heels and or boots, I have to wear certain shoes because it is not okay for me to be this short.
Yeah, I know. How tall are you?
5'9", 5'10".
5'10".
Yeah, depends on the shoes.
We'll give you 5'10". How tall is she?
About the same.
About
5'8",
the same,
5'9".
Yeah. Nice job, dude.
Thank you, man.
Nice job.
Yeah, but yesterday was really sweet. Brandman was out there.
Yeah.
Got to meet Joe Simons.
Oh, yeah, the great Joe Simons.
Yeah,
I had never
nice.
met his wife before either. She's very nice. I know her from TV, but I'd never met her, so that was nice. All in all, a good little evening. Good little event. Did we miss anything?
We didn't really have a play-by-play to go off of.
No.
It was just really sweet. It was a very sweet wedding.
Yeah, it was. I like being outside, too. It's a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm. Got a nice little breeze there, too, towards the end.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was quite nice. I almost hit the Super Deluxe on the way home, though.
I do have one critique.
Shoot.
They started later than they should have.
I know.
And I was in the worst window because I had to go to the bathroom right at the start, but I kept looking down at the clock, and it said 6:15. We were supposed to start around 6:05.
Yeah.
And I am now in the danger zone where I'm sitting there going, I'm going to have to wait this out or go now.
Well,
instead of going now, I chose to wait it out during the worst time I had to bolt.
And I opted not to eat before, so that kind of backfired on me because it was a little later, which pushed everything a little bit down the line, and that hosed me. Not that I really eat a ton of food to begin with.
And I didn't miss any of the wedding. I saw all of it. I just had to
Good to go.
to the bathroom, get back, and quietly make my way back.
The pre-funk went well in the parking lot. I thought we had a good time doing that.
It was very nice, very nice.
I may have watched the brand man chug a beer faster than I've ever seen him chug a beer, which is nice.
We all made it to work on time this morning.
Oh, yeah, I feel great.
So you can put that one on the board.
Oh, yeah, dude.
You can put it on the board.
I got home at like 9 o'clock, I want to say, 9:15, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think I was asleep in like 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
As soon as I hit the couch, I just started to sink into it a little bit, and I had to jolt myself awake because I was like, wait, if I fall asleep now, I will wake up at 5 a.m. and be a nightmare.
But I went to bed at like 9:30, 9:45, and I woke up at 7:30 this morning.
Ooh.
Feeling excellent. Woke up in the middle of the night, took the dog out, chugged a bunch of water. No drugs in me, though. I didn't take any ibuprofen or anything like that, so we good.
No baby aspirins?
No, we're flying high right now.
So the heart might be in a little bit of worry?
Well, the heart is always in a little bit of a worry, Casey, if I'm being honest with you,
That's
man.
why you take the baby aspirin.
Yeah, I used to take baby aspirin every single day.
I feel like I should start. I got heart stuff that runs in the family.
Yeah, and then I went to the doctor once, and they were like, "Are you taking baby aspirin every day?" I was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Why?"
Who told you to do this?
I was like, "I don't know. Should I not?" They were like, "No, it's fine, but why?"
But no one told you, so why are you just volunteering it?
Yeah, well, because I think I had a real weird scare where I thought, I may have told you this before. I had 2 moments where I really thought I was like stroking out, like truly, like some sort of, like I couldn't talk.
Nothing but toast in the air?
Yeah. No, there was fortunately no toast, but like I couldn't really speak. It happened in like a 10-second interval, and I was kind of freaking out about it. And I went to the doctor and got an MRI and everything because I really thought my brain was zizzing out. Turns out they were just massive panic attacks.
Oh,
so when I first went into the doctor,
just
to
more mental stress
to get my brain checked out. They were like, why don't you start taking some baby aspirin every day and see if that helps out? Could be a heart thing, could be a brain thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'll just start taking baby aspirin. Well, then I found out it was a panic attack, so then I stopped taking baby aspirin.
And that's why I stopped smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Never good. Panic attacks are the worst.
No, but here's the best part. I only ever had those panic attacks during one specific job that I worked. And since I've no longer worked that job, I no longer have them.
There you go.
I know. It's kind of nice.
Mine were all in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have no idea why. It was probably the massive amounts of drinking and smoking cigarettes, but other than that, I was in decent shape.
Well, I never really had issues with anxiety or anything like that. It's definitely something I've developed later on in my life. I think I've become more insecure in my old days. Because when I was younger, you're like undefeated and you can defeat anybody and take on all obstacles that are in front of you. I'm the king of the world kind of mentality. I don't have that anymore.
Get this text line saying, I don't know, Casey. I'd take a panic attack over a heart attack. Those are probably worse. You probably don't realize how many baby heart attacks people have a day.
Oh, and they just don't know it?
And they just never know it.
Yeah.
I think I'll take the panic attack. That one shuts you down.
Oh, yeah.
That sits you in the chair for a while.
Dude, it freaked me out, man.
Heart attacks, those can range.
Yeah. Plus, if you have a heart attack, you'll like go to the hospital for a few days. You'll probably lose a bunch of weight.
Again, baby aspirin. You'll be okay.
Maybe I should get back on it. Well, I wanted to start taking like vitamins, trying to figure out what vitamins I need to take every day.
Again, start crushing up some Flintstones and Only Barneys.
Yeah, and like
Only Bam Bams.
Only Bam Bams. Yeah. See, and so I tried to do that, but like everything backfired on me. Like some stuff worked really well and some stuff was really terrible. And I could never figure out what was the good and what was the bad. So then I just quit cold turkey.
I can never find the right multivitamin because I get really sick of the taste because all multivitamins nowadays are just covered in sugar.
I know.
So I'm not going to start my day off with candy.
Yeah, you might start your day off with candy. I've seen what you eat for breakfast sometimes.
I do most days. That's the problem. Is I can't start off my day with candy and it also be a multivitamin. My stomach's in turmoil then. Can't have Gushers and a multivitamin at the same time. That's a problem.
What if you just put the multivitamin in the Gushers and then that's not a problem? Then you're just having Gushers. They should make Gusher packets.
Can't be good for my colon.
They should make Gusher packets with a multivitamin just hidden into each one so you don't even know.
Just make multivitamin Gushers?
No, make Gushers, but and one of them is a multivitamin.
But you know how like
because I don't think you need to eat 12 multivitamins in a day.
They make fish oils. So, they have the little. They pop out. Just put those and fill them up with a little multivitamin juice, like a poppin' boba.
Now, what if you take all the concentrate of that multivitamin and spread them evenly throughout a pack of Gushers? So you have to eat the full pack of Gushers to get the full multivitamin.
Yeah, that's probably really not good for the. I'm thinking about the.
But you're already eating the whole pack of Gushers. Why not throw a little multivitamin in it?
I think that's a win.
I think it's a win, too.
I think we found the trick.
Gushers with multivitamins, cocaine zins, and what's the third one we had last week of my great ideas?
Oh.
There was another one.
I can't
remember what it was either. But it felt like $1 million idea.
Mm-hmm.
Billion-dollar idea for that. Bleak telling me the juicy center of the gusher could have a little caffeine hit in it, too. That's a morning wake-up. Multivitamin, caffeine, candy. Boom. Kids, look out. Coming.
Well, then the caffeine defeats the purpose of the cocaine zin.
Well, the cocaine zin is more around like lunchtime. You shouldn't wake up with that. Yeah.
Sold separately.
Yeah, that's for the big nooner. You know, you got 2 down, 1 to go. I got 1 more hour of this program. We'll just throw in one of these cocaine zins. Call it a day. Ready to rumble.
Yeah, again, looking like Dan Lanning after the Penn State
No
game.
kidding,
just
dude.
At noon on a Monday.
No kidding. It'd be awesome if every noon we just, like, the lights turned down, but there was just a bright spotlight on your face. Your eyes are just gacked out.
Jaw just hanging out of my mouth.
Grinding away. It's about the lighting, though, because that's what it was with Dan Lanning. It was the way the lighting was.
It was because he looked up a little bit, and the stadium lights just hit him, and
Boom.
the pupils just got massive.
Yeah, like he looked straight at the sun. Someone says, "Don't look at the sun," and Lanning was like, "Where?"
Well, let me just get blinded right now, so I just have nothing but my thoughts.
Although it's a good way to hold it back. You know what I mean? I stared at the stadium lights. That was so dumb. Now I can't focus. Oh man. No one will ever
My
know.
biggest issue is then he says it was just the zins. That's more of a problem. You're biting the jaw on running out of zins at halftime or just after the victory. Yikes.
Well, I've never had a Zin. Are they
they're
awesome?
great. Oh yeah, they're great.
They're awesome. What kind of kick do you get?
It's like I'd say the Zin is like the first hit of a cigarette without the chest pain.
Oh, like in the morning? I know
Yeah.
exactly what that is.
Again, but the chest pain, sometimes it feels good. Sometimes
Well, it wakes you up a little bit.
Sometimes you like the burn. But,
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
but it's that first little good hit of the right to the forehead in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
Good. I like it.
Okay.
Then it makes
Are
you
they
a little
expensive?
sleepy. Oh, it's like $5 a pack.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I usually buy them in rolls, so I get it cheaper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never done the Zin. I've never chewed either.
That was my biggest thing. Is I just didn't want to ruin my teeth. Everyone, growing up, my dad, parents above me, again, they all chewed around me.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw what it did to people's teeth, and I was like, yeah, I can't do it.
And everyone said to me the first time you do chew, you're going to throw up and you're going to hate it. And I was like, then why would I do this?
Because it's real good afterwards.
I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah, the first time you do a long cut, that one burns deep.
Like I always say, smoke a cigarette like an adult. Just graduate and get after it.
Mm-hmm.
Oakley Dokley, we got a great show for you all today. It's a Monday. We're very quarterback heavy today, NFL and college football. We will get to, from the NFL to college football, some preseason injuries, and Jed York's situation, which gets funnier and funnier by the moment, but maybe not so funny if you're actually involved in that situation. But we'll start quarterback chatter in the 10 o'clock hour with a little Deshaun Watson. I never thought I would be leading a show with Deshaun Watson on a Monday. But here we are, 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network.
The new
10:18 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it. We are live, baby. From the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge, 503-864-6326. That's the fan text line. She'll let you interact with us throughout the entire day. You can also jump over on the YouTubes. 1051 The Fan is the channel. Smash that like, subscribe, jump in the chat. Be nice to each other out there. A lot to get to this hour. We'll jump from the NFL. We'll stick in the NFL here with quarterbacks as our theme on a Monday. A lot to get to when it comes to quarterbacks. A lot of moving pieces. We'll get to some college situations in hour number deuce. But we bring to you the story coming out of Cleveland, which, you know, the Browns are one of those situations, a la the Jets, where you feel like it's a little bit low-hanging fruit at times. You're kind of like, do we really need to make fun of these guys all the time? Like we do it every single day. Why don't we just give it a rest? But then they step in it more, right?
Do it again.
Yeah, so I don't wake up in the morning. It's kind of like people that are on the bridges that are protesting. They've got like signs and flags, and a lot of times I agree with what they are preaching about. But I always struggle with it because it's this feeling of waking up in the morning instantly mad about something and instantly feeling the need to let that situation dominate your life. I try really hard not to do that with the Jets and the Browns because I'm just like, why? Why waste my effort on something that is not going to change? Well, then things happen and it comes across and you're like, okay, all right, fine, I'll pay attention to you again. Let's back up the truck here. Todd Monken, they lost to the Bills. He had a post-game press conference. They asked him about the situation about Deshaun Watson and how he felt Deshaun Watson played. And he said, I know you've asked him, hey, how does it feel to get booed? It's a pretty easy question. It sucks. I don't want to get booed. It comes with the territory. You don't want to get booed? Let's play good football. Let's play good at quarterback on offense and as a team, and then you won't have to worry about all that because it can turn just like that. Win, play good football, and everyone will be fine. That's just part of it. I told him, you good? We're good. That's part of what we do, which is kind of a weird phrase coming out of Todd Monken. It goes back to that whole situation of like, why are you taking this job? You know, we talk about this with Micah Nori and the Blazers. You know, why is Micah Nori willing to take, what seems to be like a weird contract stipulation with Joe Cronin and the team, a 1-year kind of prove-it deal? Because Micah Nori's been trying to get a head coaching job for a while and hasn't got one. Maybe Todd Monken's in the same situation of like, do I want to go to the Browns? God, no. But do I want a shot at being a head coach? Yes, I do.
But is this a chance for me to bolster my resume in an opportunity that I might not ever get again?
Exactly. But this is what you have to deal with. You have to deal with Deshaun Watson, who's the worst contract in the history of sports. If they were to cut Deshaun Watson, that would be like an $87 million cap hit next year.
And he's still a quarterback that's coming off of a torn Achilles.
2 of them. And he's also not very liked by the fan base. That's talking about this booing. After he had a post-game press conference, and this is what he had to say.
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows, it has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think that's it's a disrespectful thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that. And yeah, just move on.
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles. And that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. So does that have to do with, what does that have to do with anything about performance? When a person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
It's a little too late for me on this Deshaun Watson thing. The fans don't like you because you're not a likable person.
Again, I don't root for anyone
to
get injured, but he has to understand why he's unliked. You have to look in the mirror a little bit and understand that, again, you're the same dude who had to reach confidential settlements with 23 of initial 24 plaintiffs on pretty dark things.
Yeah, pretty ugly stuff. And that's the thing.
Allegedly, of course.
Allegedly, but let's remember this. In the NFL, man, if you can still play, they'll let you get away with it. And fans forget real quickly if you can play.
But in this day and age, and with everything going on in this political atmosphere right now, these are the types of stuff that aren't getting forgotten.
And that's the biggest thing is, Bud, when you were healthy, you kind of suck. You kind of suck really badly. And you're making way too much money. So, yeah, if you got weird off the court issues, off the field issues, off the pitch issues, off the diamond issues, people will let that go if you're really good.
To an extent.
To an extent. Oh, yes. I mean, if you're out there, murdering people or trafficking women, that's going to be a problem. But for the most part, people will let it go, and that's kind of the gross, ugly nature of why NFL is king. But he's also just not been very good. And if I'm Todd Monken, I am probably looking at the situation and understanding I'm a first-year head coach, and I need this fan base to kind of get behind me a little bit. Why he decides this morning it comes out, or was it yesterday it comes out, that Deshaun Watson is QB1 for week 1 for the Cleveland Browns. Why and how he came to that decision, I don't understand. Does Deshaun give you the best chance to win?
100%.
Really?
To Shedeur Sanders, Taylon Green, and Dylan Gabriel? This is a guy that went to an AFC championship. He's proven that he
went to an AFC championship 7 years ago.
But he is a proven starter in the NFL. There's no doubt about that Deshaun Watson could start in the NFL. Maybe not for Cleveland, but he could start for one of the 32 teams.
They will take on Jacksonville on the road and then at Tampa Bay. I will take both of those teams in my survivor pool. Seeing Deshaun Watson in preseason does not tell me that he is absolutely ready in any way, shape, or form. And I don't mean to be all Ryan Clark about this, but why Shedeur is not named the starter, I have no idea. Because you might as well see what the kid has. And maybe
Deshaun Watson's 37-36 in his career.
Right, but he hasn't played a full season in almost a decade.
But he can win you enough games to get you into a 500 season to maybe keep your job if you're Todd Monken.
Well, and I also think that there's a part of it, too, that if you go with Deshaun, if you start with Deshaun, and he is absolutely terrible, which I think most of us expect him to be, I think it's easier to go from Deshaun to Shedeur than Shedeur, if he's bad, to Deshaun. I think it's easier to say, hey, you're the veteran. We're going to give you the leash. Here's your opportunity. Go win some football games. And if you don't, then we'll make the call and put a kid in. I don't know if you start. I don't know if you start Fernando Mendoza for 5 games. And you're like, ooh, this is bad. Let's put in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you don't want.
You go the other way.
Yeah, because you want to seem like you're developing the guy, not letting the guy go out there and crash and burn.
Correct.
And if Shedeur does go out there week 5, week 6, however it is, and doesn't perform up to it, that'll be on him not being prepared rather than it being Monken's decision to throw him out there week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just scapegoating a little bit.
There's also some interesting thoughts that there is a insurance twist that could be involved in this. That if Deshaun Watson gets hurt again, the Cleveland Browns have an insurance policy based on his contract that would allow them to kind of get out of a lot of it. Mike Florio did a lot of this, calculated the amounts for each year, said it appears from 24 to 29, the team will receive the following credits should he get hurt. 8.7, 8.7, 7.9, 8.7 continues through 2029. That would be in total $88 million that they would recoup should this go down. Now, I don't want to say that that's the idea in Cleveland, is to throw him out there in hopes that he gets hurt, and then that way I get to recoup all the money and not have to throw him out there anymore, and then we can cut him and move along. I think that would be pretty dirty business if they were actually going to do that. Although if there's a team that would do that, I would imagine it'd be the Cleveland Browns. But there is some reality to that, and I think that is probably why you do start him. You know, that my initial was like, what are you doing? But maybe it's because you have to let this run its course. Look, Cleveland's not going to be good this year. They know that. Mm-hmm. But maybe the easiest way to settle this situation with Deshaun Watson is let him play.
I think,
and when he's not good, then you move on.
I think that's the best case scenario because, again, his future voided money / dead cap would be $36 million next year and $51.54 million in 2028. You don't want that covering up your books.
No.
You don't want all that dead money sitting there for it to be a non-asset.
No.
You want to milk that cow for whatever you possibly can.
Yeah, the worst dead cap hit in NFL history is Tua this year for Miami. It's like $55 million, something like that. But Miami is in a spot where they know they're bad. They are openly tanking. They're going for Dante or Arch, which we need to come up with some sort of sucking name to get,
it was $99 million for Tua.
Oh, but spread over 2 years.
Correct.
Yes. So this year it's 55. That's the big chunk of it. But they know they're going to be bad, so they can eat that money and move on. Cleveland.
Miami has $179 million dead cap this season alone.
Yeah. But they're okay with it.
Everyone on the roster is under the age of 27.
To where Cleveland has never been to the point where they're like, you know what, let's actually just tank this thing and let's try to figure it out. They just continue to put Band-Aids on Band-Aids on Band-Aids. And this might be the only true way to rip it off.
I traded away Myles Garrett.
Yeah. You got Jared Verse, which is a nice young pick, young player. It's not Myles Garrett.
But you have to start thinking about the future right now if you're Cleveland. The money is the biggest issue right now because of Deshaun.
Couple texts I want to read here. Bro acts like his personal conduct is mutually exclusive from all else. When you're a bad dude and not playing at a high level, you get no slack. That's the truth.
Amen to that.
Another texter says, Watson starting isn't about how good he is, but how bad the room is. Shador wasn't seen as the guy by 31 teams in the NFL, and he was the second QB picked by his own team in that same draft. I 100% adhere with you on that. I do think Shador has outplayed Dylan Gabriel. I do think Shador has a better shot of staying in this league than Dylan Gabriel is, in my opinion. And it's not that I think Shador is good by any means. It's not that I think necessarily that Shador is better than Deshaun. I think at some point, though, Cleveland's got to figure out how to just get away from Deshaun Watson and get this thing over with. And if this is the route they want to go, put him out there as long as he's healthy. Let him play and just show him that he doesn't have it anymore. Then maybe he feels better about walking away. Could you buy him out? You know what I mean? Could you buy him out, and that way you don't have to guarantee all that money, which you should have never done in the first place, which is by far the worst contract in the history of professional sports, and I don't think it's close. Like, Kyle Tucker laughs at that contract. So, maybe throw him out there, let him fail, and move along. Might just be what you have to do. One quarterback got cleared in the NFL to practice, and it might be ready to go. Might have enough time to make this work. We'll go there next. That's Casey with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Cleveland Browns will open the season with quarterback Deshaun Watson as the Week 1 starting quarterback. The decision comes amidst Watson's tumultuous relationship with the Cleveland fan base and his ongoing quarterback battle with quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Browns are slated to start the season on the road in Jacksonville, taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Some more NFL news for you as Seattle Seahawks rookie safety Bud Clark broke his ankle in Seattle's Sunday night 19-16 preseason loss to the Tennessee Titans, and he will be out for multiple months. Clark, a second-round selection out of TCU, was primed to add some key depth to the Seahawks secondary and now will miss most of his rookie season. Head coach Mike McDonald also told reporters that backup offensive lineman Mason Richmond also sustained a major injury that will keep him sidelined for long-term. Over to the WNBA as your Portland Fire fell to the Washington Mystics 105-100 last night. Shakira Austin leading the way for the Mystics as she finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the contest. Fire are back in action tomorrow night as they take on the Dallas Wings on the road for a 5 p.m. tip-off. Make sure to catch all of tomorrow's game coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 4:45. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for the Oregon Ducks.
Hanging out in the NFL, we'll head down south to the Dirty Bird land in Hotlanta. Quarterback's the theme of the program today. Thanks for coming along with us. The Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. has been cleared to return to 11-on-11 work and will begin working back into practices beginning Monday. That is according to Kevin Stefanski after they beat the Colts on Saturday. Quote, Mike is cleared for 11-on-11. He'll practice Monday in team periods. This is the last spot they needed to get him to be able to compete with Tua. They needed him to be medically cleared. Sounds like he's good to go. Let's not forget this is the 5th season-ending injury in his career, including college. He acknowledged during training camp that he and his doctor are being pretty careful about this one. I would assume so, but in a completely different situation than what Cleveland's going through right now. You got to throw Penix out there. Mm-hmm. You got to find out what you have from him.
Because you know what you're going to get out of Tua. Mm-hmm. You know that he's going to struggle against zone defenses, and you know you're going to have to run the ball 30 times, and you'll get good activity from Kyle Pitts because, well, Tua does great at throwing over the middle to tight ends. Sometimes. My biggest issue is, well, if you go out there and have Michael Penix get hurt early, you're looking at the end of that guy's career.
Yeah. And the good news is they're both lefties, so you don't have to worry about the offensive line kind of shuffling away to figure that situation out. So you got that going for you. But I also just think, and it's not fair to Michael Penix and maybe not fair to the Atlanta Falcons, because how's the rest of that draft looking? The rest of that quarterback draft's looking pretty nice. Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels.
Obviously Tyler Shuff making the steps.
Yeah, Drake May. The only problem is J.J. McCarthy, which we can get to at some point this week, because I don't even know if he's going to be the third quarterback on that depth chart. But this is pretty make or break for Atlanta. And I think when you're looking around and you've paid Kyle Pitts, you've paid Bijan Robinson,
paid Drake
London, your weapons are intact. This is your make or break with Michael Penix, because if he can't go this year, or if he goes and isn't good, I think you're definitely drafting a quarterback next year.
You
have to.
I think you're probably moving off a lefty quarterback.
I think you're moving off 2 lefty quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think you shift things around in the way the rest of the league starts to look.
Because, look, Tua might be in the league for a while as a backup. He might be a serviceable backup. But I think we've seen enough from Tua to decide whether or not he's going to be an NFL starter. I think we've seen enough. I don't see a reclamation project in Tua.
We don't need another fencing position.
No, we don't. And the reality is that Tua's had his own issues in the NFL, which could keep him out of the league, period.
And wouldn't you want to be, have a few more years of health in the league as a backup, still getting paid guaranteed money?
I'd like to play with my kids. I know that. I don't want my brain scrambled anymore.
You got a lot of money in your pocket as a backup right now.
Yeah, you got a lot of money in your pocket to not play in Miami this year. So, you're sitting just fine. But again, this is a quote from Michael Penix. As far as moving in the pocket, I can do everything. If I had a rush coming at me, I can get away. It's just, if I don't get away, that's what we're thinking about right now. If I don't get away.
And
I don't think my doctor is ready for me to take those hits right now, but the time is coming real soon.
That's my biggest worry, because what's the big thing in Atlanta that's not really happening? Elite pass rushing.
Yes.
Well, you got Walker, who's out with the injury, and you have James Pierce, who's going to be suspended 8 games. I don't know how James Pierce's practice schedule works. Hopefully he's giving you as good of live reps as he possibly can, but is he participating in joint practices yet?
I don't know.
That's my worry.
Yeah,
How much
he's
live
available.
Action are you really seeing?
Yeah, he's available today, too. This is another quote from him. Mentally, I don't know how to put it. If something bad happened to you, right, and you remember every step of what happened getting you up to that point, the next time you do it, you're going to think about it again, even if you feel like the results are going to be better. That worries me, that he's got it upstairs now, that he's seeing ghosts, hearing steps, and scared of getting hurt. And I think in a game like that, which is so violent and so physical, if you are playing to not get hurt, you're going to get hurt. It's plain and simple. You have to kind of have that. It's that weird mentality in the NFL of just not being scared. Can't go out there. If you play scared, you're going to get hurt. But if you're Michael Penix, I don't know how you don't play scared. I'm thinking about his knee, and it's not even my knee.
I think you really have to hope that Stefanski's able to really bolster that offensive line unit in the same way that he did with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in Cleveland, you have to hope that there's some all-pro guys at that offensive line because I need my quarterback to stay healthy.
And I think you have to hope that
because I think Stefanski doesn't want to throw Tua out there.
I don't think he does either. No, he wants Michael Penix, without a doubt.
You want the strong arm, you want the decision-making of Penix over Tua any day of the week.
Maybe if you're a Falcons fan, and I'd be curious to hear from any of you, 503-864-6326. If you're a Falcons fan, you're probably hoping that Stefanski can scheme some stuff up to cover some holes, is what you're hoping, I imagine. He is a 2-time coach of the year for the Cleveland freaking Browns. So, the dude is a good coach, in my opinion. Seems to be a little salty. Seems to be a guy that kind of wears out his welcome,
he
maybe.
Brought Cleveland to 10 wins, and, again, the way that ended, sour.
Yeah, it did. It did. And look, I know we're fans of Baker on this show, and I know you and Danny have multiple times given Stefanski a lot of grief about moving off from Baker.
If Nick Chubb doesn't get hurt, he doesn't have to move off of Baker.
Totally understood.
He doesn't have to rework the team.
But what I would also argue is that Baker now is very different than what Baker was back then.
Again,
this is the best Baker.
Yeah, because I also
But I don't know if we ever saw this Baker when he was in Cleveland.
We saw this Baker when he was in L.A. for a few weeks.
Sure.
And I think being under McVay gives him a little bit of juice and go into Tampa Bay going, all right, this is my team. Let me go take over now.
And sometimes you need to fall.
But Cleveland, it's always – the front seven was what built that Cleveland team. It was the fact that you had a really deep offensive line, and then on the flip side of it, you had Jadeveon Clowney, Zadarius Smith, Larry Ogunjobi, whoever you want to plug in at D-tackle there. The reigning defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett. So, that defense was always the foundation of that team. Baker Mayfield just stopped their quarterback problems for the time being. And I think he didn't really give you the life at the quarterback position that Cleveland fans wanted. Sadly, it's what they needed. It's what they got.
Atlanta is at Miami on Friday for their last preseason game. Be interesting to see if he goes out there, right? You gotta, don't you? He's got to see live bullets. If you want him to start week 1, or if you want him to start week 2, he's probably got to play in this game against Miami. Well, let's see what their schedule they open with. They open at your Steelers.
Sorry.
Then they're home against Carolina.
You can't start Michael Penix against the Steelers week 1.
I don't know if you can start him against Panthers either in week 2.
You can't start him against 2 elite pass rushers like that. Derek Brown for the Carolina Panthers is elite, and they've only added more pieces around once they traded away Brian Burns. I worry a lot about if you throw out Michael Penix out there, that pass rush is going to get home.
Yeah, and then week 3, it's a Thursday night game at Green Bay.
You're lucky that Michael Parsons might not be healthy.
Yeah.
But still, you're facing pretty strong pass rushes weeks 1, 2, and 3.
Boy, this schedule's kind of brutal for the Falcons. At Packers, at the Saints. We'll see what the Saints look like.
I think the Packers really filled a lot of the holes that they had problems with. They had Quay Walker, who had some issues on the field and off the field. Remember, he shoved a trainer for, I believe it was the Lions, got himself ejected from a game. Well, they just filled that hole with who I think is the best true tackler in the NFL, in Zaire Franklin, who's been top 10 in the league in tackles for the Indianapolis Colts his entire career.
They'll take on the Ravens on Sunday Night Football after that.
This is brutal.
Then they host the Bears, host the 49ers, at the Bucks, host the Bengals, host the Chiefs, at the Vikings, host the Lions. You don't get the Browns until 5 games left in the year.
And it seems like their easiest matchup of those is the Tampa Bay one, and that's their in-division rival.
I know. Maybe the Bengals. But the Saints, dude, that's Division 2.
We don't know what the Bengals look like right now, but yeah.
But then after
that's a nightmarish schedule.
Yeah, you get this. Yeah, they drew the AFC North, and they get all of the NFC North this year. At the Commies, home against the Bucks, home against the Saints, at the Panthers. This is brutal, dude. Atlanta could win 4 games.
Yeah, that's
they really could.
Tough. That is a really. Tough
I didn't even
schedule.
think about that. This team might be bad this year.
And if they are going to lace it up,
and if they are going to be bad this year, have Penix play every single snap you can find.
And no wonder you lock down your guys as well, so they don't
freak out
and dip out for the next year, because now you're looking to build for the next few years, because You lock down Drake London to a 4-year deal. Kyle Pitts got inked up for a long-term deal. Bijan Robinson, well, that's the guy you want to really keep long-term.
Quarterback coverage on The Fan is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi. One price, 5 years, guaranteed. Xfinity, imagine that. Let's stick with some quarterbacks, but let's move to your team, Casey, the Steelers. Are we really keeping four quarterbacks on this roster? That's next. 105.1 The Fan.
One FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
More quarterback chatter to get to in hour number deuce, but we'll do it in the college variety as it is week 0, brought to you by Video Only. We are really stoked. Everyone here around is feeling the love and feeling the vibe of college football right around the corner, even if it is a crappy slate on Saturday. Boy, we're all going to watch everything. I've got a real fun show announcement for Wednesday, something that I'm going to effort. Funny enough, I have to give full credit to my wife on this one. So we'll give that to you on Wednesday. We are efforting to preview Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, and Washington State this week. Tyson Alger will join us on Thursday to preview the Ducks. Currently working to see if I can't get a hold of my guy Alex Brink, see if he's available to talk about some Wazoo, and we'll do UW and Oregon State as well. But sticking in the NFL, there is a report out there that the Steelers do intend to keep both Will Howard and Drew Aller on the 53-player roster. It is an interesting thought to have 4 quarterbacks on your roster. I mean, Cleveland's most likely going to do it as well. But very different situations when you compare Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Now, the reality is that Mason Rudolph is the backup, right? He's going to be the backup.
He's a proven backup in the NFL.
He's listed on the depth chart as number 2. So the thought is like, who's going to be QB3? Drew Aller or Will Howard? Both have had ups, downs, lefts, rights, whatever you want to say, in their preseason and their rookie campaigns. Part of it, too, is to put one of them on your practice squad, they'd have to clear waivers. I don't think either of them would clear waivers.
No.
So someone's going to snag them. So you have that situation.
Yep.
But I'm also fascinated from a Mike McCarthy standpoint. I wonder if it's that on top of Mike McCarthy might think he has a future quarterback in one of these two.
Yeah, I would hope you think that you have a future here. Again, you have two quarterbacks who played at elite levels in college football. You just hope that they can make the steps. And behind a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you hope that not only do you evolve their mentality about the game, their confidence about throwing the ball, you just hope that everything about their game takes that next level because iron sharpens iron. And again, you're next to a 3-time MVP.
Yeah, they did lose 17-0 to the Jets. I'm not terribly concerned about preseason
Two
results.
bad interceptions from Will Howard in the red zone. Both of them I'll put on Roman Wilson. Don't drift your routes. Go straight down that line if you're running over the middle. Safety made good jumps on the ball. Happens.
Yeah, you can only kind of look at stats, too, and what they are situationally. Howard was 10 of 15, 74 yards, 2 picks. Drew Aller went 11 of 23 for 110 yards and 3 sacks.
Offensive line looked garbaggio.
Yeah, and Drew Aller is not going to be the guy back there you want if your offensive line is garbaggio.
Again, yeah, you couldn't run the ball very well. Caleb Johnson, he was 10 for 39. Rico Dowdle, he was 5 of 18. Jalen Warren, 5 of 17. You just didn't get the push that you needed to with your twos on the offensive line side of things, which is tough, but also they're your twos on the offensive line.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if Mason Rudolph plays, because he hasn't played yet, has he?
He played, believe, 2 series in the first preseason game against Green Bay. Did okay.
Okay.
But that was Drew Aller's coming out party was against Green Bay.
I like the idea of Mike McCarthy liking one of these guys because, we talk about it with certain teams all the time, like Green Bay and Pittsburgh, the Rams. Like, you don't pick high enough to get franchise quarterbacks very often.
Our quarterback room over the past few years before Aaron Rodgers stepped in was Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, and Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. And then you went into...
look at it now and say it's Will Howard, Drew Aller, Aaron Rodgers, and Mason Rudolph. I like that on paper a lot more.
It's a lot better than the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields situation you had for a little bit.
And obviously you're seeing Justin Fields continue to struggle in preseason.
And look, I don't know where I am on Mike McCarthy as a modern-day coach. I definitely think there was a place in history where Mike McCarthy was a very, very, very good NFL coach.
Again, Mike McCarthy has been a great coach. He's been a 10-win coach for the past few years. The biggest reason why you haven't heard from Mike McCarthy is because, well, who runs things in Dallas?
Yeah, not
Smiles and glory holes.
Yeah, not him. So it'll be interesting to see when the reins are lifted from him if he can stay with today's game and keep evolving these quarterbacks. And if Drew Aller or Will Howard are the ones for the future, well, then good on him. Because the reality is it's not Aaron. You got this year of Aaron. And I'm curious if things go sideways if Aaron ever loses that starting job. Yep. I don't think he would.
It's Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think McCarthy would ever do that to him.
You can't give that up.
But I'd be curious to see how Mike McCarthy ranks Will Howard and Drew Aller. Who he likes more than the other.
I would too. I think they're both at the same level right now, and you're just continuously hoping. I said it on Friday, but you're hoping that they continue to take steps. And if one can separate themselves from the other, good on you, because that's what we're looking for.
Without a doubt.
Separate themselves.
Without a doubt. Let's get into hour number deuce here from the NFL to college football. Really? This again, huh? Hello, darkness, my old friend. 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Cleveland Browns will open the season with quarterback Deshaun Watson as the Week 1 starting quarterback. The decision comes amidst Watson's tumultuous relationship with the Cleveland fan base and his ongoing quarterback battle with quarterback Shadur Sanders. Browns are slated to start the season on the road in Jacksonville, taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Some more NFL news for you as Seattle Seahawks rookie safety Bud Clark broke his ankle in Seattle's Sunday night loss in preseason to the Tennessee Titans, and he will be out for multiple months. Clark, a second-round selection out of TCU, was primed to add some key depth to the Seahawks secondary and will now miss most of his rookie season. Head coach Mike McDonald also told reporters that backup offensive lineman Mason Richmond also sustained a major injury that will keep him sidelined for the long term. Over to the WNBA as your Portland Fire fell to the Washington Mystics 105-100 last night. Shakira Austin leading the way for the Mystics. She finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the contest. Fire are back in action tomorrow night as they take on the Dallas Wings on the road for a 5 p.m. tip-off, but make sure to catch all of tomorrow's game coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 4:45. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Your home for Seahawks football, the Fan Sports Network.
Hour number deuce here. If you're missing the first hour, you can download that, the Fan Podcast, 1051thefan.com, the Odyssey app, wherever you get yours. Give Casey about 15, 20 minutes. He'll have the first hour up if you can't wait for that. Jump on the Odyssey app or the YouTube. 1051 The Fan is the channel. Rewind, fast forward, except for in the future. For that would be impossible. Binary Brewing and The Fan have teamed up for the only Fan IPA available for a limited time. Taste The Fan with Binary Brewing's signature West Coast IPA. Go to Binary Brewing's Beaverton location and ask them about their only Fan. So good. Only The Fan and Binary Brewing can pull it off. Let's hang out in college football here for a little bit this hour. We'll look at one quarterback is potentially still alive to compete for a starting job somewhere, and another big boy names their starter. But we'll start here in college football from the NFL to college football. And if we can actually believe this is going down, it is currently going to go down. The Cleveland Browns waived tight end Daquan Wright. Not good enough to play. So adios. So where else is he going to land, right? Maybe on some other team. Who needs a tight end out there, some tight end depth? Oh, I could probably think of many places. Nope, he's going to go to college football and play it for LSU.
Boo.
Look, it's the weirdest thing, too, with Lane. Like, Lane is such an easy target and an easy punching bag because he just brings it on himself. You know, you can't sit there and complain and moan all the time about how rules in college football aren't fair, and you're the guy that continues to break them and do shady stuff. So there's that. But the reality is, we kind of talked about this a little on Friday, I believe. Like, dude, once you're done, man. You just make college football look bad. It looks watered down. And I think you as a player, look, if Daquan Wright is good at LSU next year and gets drafted, yeah, the NFL doesn't care. They're going to let him play. But at the same time, like, I don't understand why any player should have this option to begin with.
My biggest issue is, again, you said that if he is able to go out there and improve his draft stock, what if he does the opposite? What if he hurts his draft stock? What if he goes back and gets hurt at LSU, but he's still getting paid that NIL money that could have gone to a 17-year-old recruit or an 18-year-old kid who's just about to sign to one of the premier programs in college football?
Well, you got two things there that I want to unravel. One of them is you can't hurt your draft stock anymore because you just got cut from a team. So, like,
that's already on the resume.
It already seems like you are not good enough to play in the NFL. Now, if you take one more year of college and you develop and maybe under Lane, you do get better, then you can go and that'll be fine. Number two, that's the other thing, huh? It's like how many scholarships are on a college team? 83, something like that. So I don't want to pretend that I'm like all high and mighty, like you're stealing an opportunity from another kid. You are
105.
105. You are stealing an opportunity from another kid. But at the same time, what kid are you stealing that opportunity from? The end of the bench? Does that suck? Yeah, it does suck. But if you're at the end of the bench, man, you're already kind of in that list anyway. I just think it looks bad from the standpoint of you're basically bringing in professionals to play college football now. Is basically what this is.
Yep.
And if you can't cut it in the NFL, you're just going to go to college. It shouldn't work that way. If you can't cut it in the NFL, go to Canada.
How old is this? Is it Deshaun or Daquan Wright?
I believe it's Daquan Wright.
Daquan Wright. How old is this kid?
Let's see if I can find here. Oh, why is that?
He's 22 years old.
22 years old. So he's not 25.
No.
Which is kind of scary if he was 25.
But isn't that 5 years? If you went into college at 17 years old, is that not your 5-year eligibility clock?
That's what I would assume.
Do we not have the hard limit on the 5-year eligibility clock for a reason?
No, because you can just go find a judge that'll give it to you somewhere else.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Dan Lanning had something to say about this. I found his comments very interesting, spot on with what I have to say.
Give me 2 seconds here.
Okay. Yeah, that Dan's coming in, and Marcus Freeman said something the other day, too. Dude, Notre Dame classes start today. Marcus Freeman said something along the lines, I read this on Saturday, that, like, how am I supposed to bring somebody into the program if the program is already on the ground running? But that doesn't stop Lane. That'll never stop Lane. Because Lane's going to do whatever he can to keep his train running. And I think this is a situation that it just kind of looks bad, and I don't know how you solve it. Because, again, just add this to the list of 1,000 things that are going on crazy in college football. Anytime you don't like something, we'll just go find somebody that allows me to do this. And that eventually has to stop. It eventually has to stop. And I hate seeing, the Kirby Smarts of the world who are like Dabos, and they're like, we got to change this. We can't have sports running wild like this. Well, then you guys got to stop doing it as well. And I don't mean them specifically. I know Dabo is fuddy-duddy in his desires and designs to not work in the transfer portal and all that comes with him. But it's those type of guys that are just complaining and whining and groaning about every single thing they can without the reality of doing anything to stop it. Here's what Dan Lanning had to say about this situation.
Your thoughts just on guys coming from the NFL back to college. I know you guys aren't really interested in the 5-for-5, but just the state of college athletics right now from every sport just seems like who's eligible. You don't really know. What's your feelings on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of negatives that are involved around this. One, once you go to the NFL, to me, you're in the NFL. You don't get the opportunity to come back. Two, most of us have built our rosters and you have a limited roster limit now. So if you invited somebody back to your team, that means you're kicking somebody else off your team, right? To match your roster limits. I don't think that's fair to the players that worked all summer, all spring, and put themselves in position to be ready to work for a team. To have somebody come back. But ultimately, it used to be once you had an agent or once you went and did the combine or once you went to all those things qualified as you are no longer an amateur, you're a professional now once you declare for the draft. So to let any of those players come back, fair or unfair to them, it's unfair to the sport. And I think it's unfair to the players that are on current teams, for those guys to be coming back.
He's spot on with that. And that's kind of something I was talking about last Friday. It's like, I get it now that because NIL exists and there's so much money for players that you need to have an agent, you need to have some sort of financial advisor helping you out in this. So that concept of once you sign an agent, you are no longer a collegiate athlete, that's out the window. And I don't really have a problem with that. I truly don't. I would rather somebody find themselves somebody that's going to advocate for them, understands contracts, understands language, legalities of stuff to represent them. But Dan's spot on. You go to a mini camp, you playing a preseason NFL game? Bro, you're done.
To me, this just sounds like the onus of developing players is now on the players. It's no longer on the coaches because the coaches, again, if I want to give myself the best opportunity, if I'm Lane Kiffin who's at a brand new school and I want the least amount of pressure, I want to give myself the best opportunity roster-wise. I'm going to try to go get the guys who are as close to professionals as I could be. But now I'm not worried about developing guys anymore. I'm just worried about poaching whoever I can get.
Right. Now, here's the real question. What are the long-term effects of this? Like, does Lane take heat for this? Do kids start thinking, I don't know if I want to go to LSU because he just does this?
That's my issue. I don't think Lane takes the heat for it. I think the system has to be indicted before you go after the coach.
Yeah.
Because it's not Lane's fault for
that the rules are allowing. That the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals granted the NCAA a stay Friday morning in an order reversing the federal judge's decision that had opened the door for all athletes who started college in 22-23 academic year and played for 4 consecutive seasons to be able to return to a 5th season. Now, that doesn't mean that they are allowing it or not allowing it. It just means that they're going to wait to hear about that in court. So that allows him to play. And most of the time when they grant these stays, they don't circle back on this case until late January. LSU's already done by that point. So what does it matter then?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get around the rules. Dan's right in the sense that it takes a shot at the game itself more so than Daquan Wright or more so than LSU or more so than Lane Kiffin and more so than Todd Monken in Cleveland who cut him.
And that's what I mean by it. Developing players is kind of gone now, because if I just can go find the talent elsewhere, I'm going to go find the talent elsewhere. I'm not going to try to develop this guy if I know that I can go get Johnny Go Lucky, who's 2 years older, 2 years more developed. I don't have to do all the work for developing this guy. This guy's already developed and wants to come play for me.
503-864-6326 is the fan text line. This texter says, I'm a Duck, but if Amari Washington or Dante Moore gets cut next NFL preseason, you don't think Lanning would allow them back? And that's where I think it gets tricky. It's if these rules are going to be so flexible and bent at any moment to get a competitive advantage, it's going to take these guys to collectively, coaches and ADs, I was about to say GMs, they basically are GMs, coaches and ADs to collectively say, we're not going to do that. The SEC has done that in some things. They're just like, we're good. We're not going to do that. You guys might be able to do that. You guys might have fun with that. We're not going to do that. And it's going to take, because the NCAA is so gutless and can't figure out how to govern their own GD sport, that it's going to take them to have to do it themselves. I believe Danny that is at his word, that I don't think he would. I don't think Ryan Day would. I don't think Kirby would.
But when you have these programs of, all right, we just bring guys here to play at a much higher level than the rest of the field, I think it's easier to recruit in that sense.
Yeah, I just think you're always going to have guys like Lane Kiffin who's willing to do it.
Yeah, when you've been around
if Brian Kelly were a head coach, I think Brian Kelly would do it for sure. There's just some of those guys that you kind of know, I don't want to say are like snakes, but they're kind of snakes and they're willing to do whatever it takes. Then you hope, the newer, younger crew that are getting their first opportunities, to use the Ducks as an example, Will Stein at Kentucky or Tosh Lupoy at Cal, you hope that they stick to that gun too. So then the next generation of future head coaches also believe the same thing. It goes back to the massive problem that we still have in college football is that there's nobody here running the ship. There's nobody here to say, nope, you can't do that. Yes, you can do that. And until they have a true governing body, I would like to punish the NCAA for a lack of institutional control. Mm-hmm. How many people they slap that on in there? In my lifetime, I have seen 10, 15, 35 schools get told by the NCAA that you lack institutional control. Well, guess what, NCAA? You lack institutional control.
Time to look in that mirror.
Yes, and just figure this out. Because it's just... I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but that's why Dan is spot on. It makes the sport look stupid. You have the second biggest sport in America. It's not close. You're never going to catch the NFL, but the gap between the NFL and you could close a little bit, and the gap between you and third place can get bigger. But if you keep doing stupid stuff like this, we had this conversation earlier today, Casey, before we came on the air.
Do they want to shrink the gap?
Like every single professional sports league in this country does something that prevents them from actually competing with the NFL, and it's usually self-inflicted.
Yep.
Okay? The WNBA does not support their players enough. Okay? The NBA lets players run amok. Nobody hates baseball more than baseball.
Yep.
And nobody watches MLS games if it's not your team. So it's like, oh, and then college football is just the Wild West. We're just going to court orders all the time. If you want to be taken seriously, you have to put these parameters in and stop doing self-inflicted gunshot wounds, because this is just another one for them. Oof. Fired up there for a second.
Woosah. Woosah. And woosah.
Yep. That's what it is. There's not much more I can say about that.
Let's just hope our teams win the group of 6.
Let's do it.
So we don't have to worry about these losers up top.
Somebody who had some Heisman buzz a little bit until the wheels fell off might be still alive. Sticking college football quarterback action. 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network. Web Jam's coming up in about a half hour. Get back to the NFL and the big nooner here, but hanging out in college football. It is week 0. I'm stoked. I'm very, very excited. We have a big show announcement on Wednesday. Casey and I are kind of spitballing around this morning that we kind of really are into. Could turn out quite nice for us.
I think it's going to be good.
I think it's a good idea. Week 0 is this weekend. There is a slate of games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games this week. I would argue the headline game of the week is Memphis at UNLV. That's the game that I'm very interested in. Maybe I'll tape it because I get a Timbers game that day.
That Ireland game was probably the best one for me.
North Carolina, TCU, does that do it for you?
That does. TCU's had a few guys get up and get sent up to the league, and they've looked good. Again, Bud Clark, who just got hurt for the Seattle Seahawks, he was poised to be a really key piece of their defense in the depth realm there. I like TCU. For some reason, the Horned Frogs. I know you hate purple, but I like the Horned Frogs.
LaDainian Tomlinson went to TCU, and he's my favorite NFL player of all time.
Yes, sir.
But he didn't wear purple in the NFL, so I let it slide. Tottenham Newcastle at 9:30.
I told you. I told you would have done it.
Decisions. Decisions. My Liverpool plays Sprague's Nottingham Forest this weekend at 4:30 in the morning.
I'm angry at Sprague, but he got his comeuppance.
I texted him about the Nottingham Forest game this weekend, and apparently I spoiled it because he only watched the first half, and it was a brutal finish to that game. And I just texted him brutal, and he went SOB.
Had to.
Yeah.
Tough.
Well, in some more, let's talk some legal stuff. Temporary restraining order by a Kentucky judge on Friday is going to allow Tommy Castellanos to enter the NCAA transfer portal. His agent, Joe Hernandez of Just Win Management. That's such a cringy name for your agency. This is all according to Pete Thamel. Castellano, 32-game starter over his 4 years at Florida State, Boston College, and UCF. None of those are in Kentucky, so I'm confused as to why he's in Kentucky. Maybe he's from Kentucky? Could that be the situation? Nope, he is from Georgia. So we just like spinning the globe and just like picking a state and going there?
Guess so.
I mean, if he was going to play at Kentucky, I would understand that.
He's not playing at Kentucky?
No, the rumor is he's going to Texas Tech because they need a quarterback.
Well, there you go, Texas Tech. Step in it a little more.
And that they are so funny because they're in the same realm as Lane Kiffin because they don't care. They don't care at all how this is going to go down. Joey McGuire does not care if people think his team is boosted up by a ton of money because they got that Yahoo that won't shut up and keep spending money down there. They don't care because they're a quarterback away from potentially winning a national championship. Because let's not forget, if Brendan Sorsby was going to be the starting quarterback at Texas Tech, I might have taken them to win a natty. That's how much I like that program right now. But they are one of those programs, a la LSU, that don't care about this stuff at all. And maybe that's unfair. Maybe more college programs don't care than I'm giving it credit for. Maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid when somebody like Marcus Freeman or Dan Lanning says, oh, it shouldn't do that, and we don't do that here, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'm forgetting that there is a lot more negativity in programs than I'm alluding to. But I know for sure Texas Tech does not care.
No. This is just, we're going to throw something at the wall, and if it sticks, it sticks. Well, none of it's sticking right now, so keep riding.
How do you think we'll go back and look at this stuff? Do you think we'll care in the future?
Probably not. I think Texas Tech, if they do poorly, I think they'll have a real big issue on their hands in terms of how to put out the fire. But right now, there's no fire at Texas Tech. It's only a fire if they start losing.
That is true. They got out of the Sorsby thing without looking as bad as we thought they were going to be.
Mm-hmm. And again, you can chalk up last season to, all right, we lost one game because our quarterback, and we tried to handle that quarterback position, and it blew up in our face even more.
Maybe another way to look at this stuff is like selling out to win a natty, okay? And I mean, there's a million ways to sell out, okay? You can go the Jim Harbaugh way. You can go this Texas Tech way they're attempting to go. Or you can go the Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, Marcus Freeman, Kirby Smart kind of way to go, where you just continue to have powerhouse recruiting and continue to be in the conversation, and eventually you rip one off. Miami seems to be in that spot now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious if the desperation that Michigan had to win that national title, the desperation that Texas Tech has right now to win that national title, in the end, is it worth it? It's always worth it to have a chip. But I'm saying, is it worth it in the end to do, let's take Michigan, for example.
Yeah, because I think you have to look right at Michigan.
Right at Michigan.
Is it worth it that they have a ship, but everything's blowing up in their face right now?
Was it worth it in the 2000s for Pete Carroll to get a couple natties at USC? Was that worth it?
I think you can say it's worth it.
Because
it keeps you in the conversation forever.
Understood, but then you get guys that are like, dude, get over it. It's been 20 years. USC hasn't been good for 20 years.
But they're still always in the conversation.
Fair point. Now, what does it do for a team like Texas Tech? That is like Michigan and SC, those are blue bloods in college football.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Tech's a little Johnny-come-lately. What would that do for Texas Tech? Because we all want to sit here and use the Indiana as the pillar. Well, if Indiana can do it, then anybody can do it. That's Indiana.
Texas Tech just has to keep hoping that their golden boy keeps being the golden boy of football. Because if Patrick Mahomes can keep being Patrick Mahomes, that always will reflect well on Texas Tech. In the same way that Brady's succeeding always reflected well on Michigan.
And Texas Tech has Cody Campbell, who I find exhausting, but gives a lot of money. Gives a lot of money to Texas Tech, and they're willing to play that game because they are willing to do whatever it takes. Now, I think what's interesting is that's the difference between a Joey Maguire and a Kurt Signetti. Now, whether it's them doing it or not is beside the point. They are just going to be the faces of their programs. That's head coaching in college football. To say that it's funny. Kurt Signetti winning at Indiana is something we never thought was possible. And he did it by tinkering here and there. Big transfer class, older guys, veterans, also great play calling, great team of assistants. I don't think that stuff is replicable. I think that Indiana is a one-time thing. Now, can teams buy national championships? Can teams that have never won one before get in the conversation? Yes. I don't think it will happen as fast and how dramatic it was for Indiana with a Heisman Trophy winner, undefeated national championship, going to Oregon on the road and winning, blowing people out in the playoffs, and having your quarterback go number 1 overall in the draft.
I think you can buy yourself an opportunity. I don't necessarily think you can buy yourself championships.
Exactly. And I'm curious how this plays out for Texas Tech. Because they want to put them in. We talked with Stephen. Stephen Vaughn was sat in with us on Friday. We talked about Dan Lanning and Marcus Freeman. I truly believe that in the next 5 years, both of those guys will have a national title. I could be wrong. I'm not putting money on it, but it would not surprise me if both of those dudes in the next 5 years, because those are the programs that they're building. Mm-hmm. They're the younger generation that understand NIL, that embrace transfer portal and NIL, find their QBs that they love.
You can tell that they're elevating their program.
Without a doubt. I'm curious if that stays the same for Joey Maguire at Texas Tech. Or is this just we're pushing all our chips in and let's go? I heard Durden Sprague interviewed a guy who covers BYU this morning. And I've been thinking about that as well. Like, if Kalani Sitake stays at BYU and the money continues to roll in at BYU,
you're going to continue to build something that looks really good.
They might start being in the conversation because BYU has that. They have that Notre Dame tricky little thing that works in their favor. They have the religious aspect. And if you can find certain players that fall into that religious aspect and you can pay them money and bring them in and kind of corner that market, you can put yourself in a conversation of being consistently in the competition to win a national championship.
You're able to bring in possibly one of the best basketball recruits that your school has ever seen, and he just got drafted number 1 overall. Mm-hmm. Can you do that in another program?
And I don't know what it is. And maybe I'm being too mean to Texas Tech. Maybe I'm taking the Brendan Sorsby thing out on them too hard, or how bad Baron Morton was last year. They feel like, to me, Texas Tech feels like a team in college football that has the money but doesn't have any culture, pomp and circumstance.
They've never been a blue
history around it. But I don't need you to be a blue blood. Oregon's not a blue blood.
I would argue Oregon is a blue blood.
A modern day, but that's only 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Alabama's been winning titles for 50 years. Notre Dame's been around since World War II. So while Oregon may be a step above Texas Tech, Oregon at least comes to you with flashy jerseys, Nike, Chip Kelly offense, which got the world on fire, what Dan's doing down there right now. That has some culture and some bravos and some kind of attitude to it. To where Texas Tech just feels like we're just throwing money at this. And I don't think they have the same sort of like goodwill and fun that I get when I watched Indiana last year. And maybe I'm just being hard on Texas Tech. Maybe it's because the Big 12 stinks. I don't know.
Maybe it's because we don't quite understand what the culture of Texas Tech is because they're still very fresh.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily know what the foundation of Texas Tech looks like because they're just kind of coming up on the scene.
Yeah, anybody new to the program at some point has to take their lumps, right? At some points is somebody that had to figure out who they are and what their identity. That's Oregon in the early 2000s. They had to figure out what their identity was. I would argue USC knew what their identity is, and they're still searching for a new one. Because you can lose them. Ryan Day's figured out the identity at Ohio State. We got wide receivers, and we put defensive players in the NFL. That's what we do here. You know? Kirby Smart's created my third-string D tackle would start at 75% of the teams in college football.
Mm-hmm.
Those are that. I don't know what Texas Tech is. Throwing tortillas? Okay, that's cute.
I'll wait till I have more linebackers.
Yeah.
You got one.
Yeah.
You got your J-Rod.
Mm-hmm.
So can you start breeding real elite players at that position?
Yep. Or are you just a gun for hire?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be interesting. When we come back, let's stick in college football as this blue blood, true blue blood, names their starter. A big year for their head coach, and I'm excited to see what the kid will do. We'll go there next. That's Casey with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Cleveland Browns will open the season with quarterback Deshaun Watson as the Week 1 starting quarterback. The decision comes amidst Watson's tumultuous relationship with the Cleveland fan base and his ongoing quarterback battle with Shadur Sanders. Browns are slated to start the season on the road in Jacksonville, taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Some more NFL news for you as the Seattle Seahawks rookie safety Bud Clark broke his ankle in Seattle's Sunday night preseason loss to the Tennessee Titans, and he will be out for multiple months. Clark, a second-round selection out of TCU, was primed to add some key depth to the Seahawks secondary and will now miss most of his rookie season. Head coach Mike McDonald also told reporters that backup offensive lineman Mason Richmond also sustained a major injury that will keep him sidelined for the long term. Over to the WNBA as your Portland Fire fell to the Washington Mystics 105-100 last night. Shakira Austin leading the way for the Mystics. She finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the contest. Fire are back in action tomorrow night as they take on the Dallas Wings on the road for a 5 p.m. tip-off, but make sure to catch all of tomorrow's game coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 4:45. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The home of prime time with
Everybody's favorite web gems coming up here in just a moment. But some more quarterback news out of college football. Alabama, where it just matters more down here. They have named Keelan Russell as the team's starting quarterback over Austin Mack. The interesting thing, if you're not aware, Austin Mack was at UW, was a prize recruit for them. Kalen DeBoer took him with him to Alabama before they decide to land on Keelan Russell. It's a very fascinating situation to me because Keelan Russell is the Johnny-come-lately down there, and Kalen DeBoer did not choose his guy. There's a couple things to be said about this. Look, Kalen DeBoer can be quite a quarterback whisperer. I think he can do some really cool stuff with quarterbacks, and that's why this is kind of exciting in terms of Keelan Russell. But I'm more curious about what this does to guys like Austin Mack in the sense of, like, you left UW to go with Kalen DeBoer to be the new guy in Alabama. They land on Ty Simpson and choose to start Ty Simpson over you. And Ty was a pretty solid quarterback last year. I mean, we saw him in preseason with the Rams right now. He's looked pretty good and took them to a Rose Bowl. Yes, they got completely shellacked by Indiana.
You can't blame Ty Simpson for Alabama not being able to run the ball for the first time in my lifetime.
Exactly. But now you're losing out. Now you're losing out to the kid. You know, and that worries me in the sense of, like, how do I know if I'm a quarterback and my head coach is leaving, okay? Let's take Trinidad Chambliss and Lane Kiffin. If Lane says to him, hey, I'm going to leave, would you like to come with me? I almost wonder if there's a way that guys might start saying, yeah, if you can guarantee that I start.
I think that's just the sense of now you're seeing guys lean on relationships a lot more in college football.
Mm-hmm.
Where, again, Trinidad Chambliss, you see that LSU went for a quarterback search. Well, that's probably because Trinidad Chambliss' relationship was really foundational with the current head coach and the former offensive coordinator at Ole Miss.
According to 24/7 Sports, Keelan Russell is considered the highest-ranked recruit in program history.
In program history?
Program history. Did I stutter? He does, quote from Kalen DeBoer, quote, he does that with his arm, he does that with his legs. That's what's made him special. That's why we recruited him in the first place. We saw that, and he's just continued to grow. You want to win a battle because another guy pushed you to be your best, not because another guy failed. But I think that's what happened here.
We're talking about the greatest recruit in Alabama history?
According to 247.
That's a big swing.
That is a big swing.
That's a lot of shoes to have to live up to.
Keelan Russell is 6'3", 201 pounds. Boy, you need to eat some cheeseburgers, buddy. Born in 2007. That hurts my heart.
Oh,
I need a baby aspirin for that one.
That hurts my heart.
But, look, I'm also curious if there were less pressure on Kalen DeBoer than there is if he would have gone with his guy Mac and let Keelan sit for another year.
But how much pressure is there really on Kalen DeBoer?
It's tricky, man, because his buyout is so expensive that he might not get fired. But, dude,
also, you don't want to be the guy that changes around the program in your eyes and then blow up in your face. Again, my issue right now is Alabama hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
That was 2021. This is Alabama Crimson Tide that we're talking about.
I know.
Name a Hall of Fame running back.
But I can't.
I mean,
Derrick Henry,
Mark Ingram, again, guys that were dominant in college football. This is a foundational running back university. I can't think of anyone else that's more stamped as running back university other than Alabama.
Yes, but Alabama also had that because they were putting guys in the NFL on that offensive line every single year. They're not doing that right now under Kalen DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, look, going to the playoff last year and winning a game against Oklahoma, a game against an injury-rattled Oklahoma team that couldn't stop a nosebleed, that ain't going to cut it. And if Alabama makes the college football playoff this year, it's going to take a lot. They're gonna have to get pretty lucky in some games. Why am I trying to bring up this Where are you? There it is.
Want to play the game?
Yeah, we'll play it in a second, but I just want to kind of look at this. If Alabama does get in, okay, Alabama takes on Oklahoma again. And then there's a lot to be seen about Alabama and how good they're going to be this year. I'll take Oklahoma in that game. If Alabama gets in the playoff and they take on Miami, I'm going to take Miami in that game. Alabama gets the playoff and takes on Indiana. I'm going to take Indiana in that game probably.
Mm-hmm.
They get in, take on Texas, Notre Dame, Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State. I'm not taking Bama to beat any of those teams. And if Bama gets in and doesn't beat one of those teams, that's when it gets real loud on Kalen DeBoer. And it may not get fired this year, but they might be saying next year is make or break for him. And the thing is like, we can play the game right now. I'm fully ready. I've got the schedule up in front of me. I don't know what this team looks like.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
There's so much question about this roster.
Is that vaunted Alabama defense still there in the shadows? Or are they turning into ghosts? You know? Are we going to see a high-fly, high-dynamic passing game at Alabama for the first time ever?
We know that they have a really elite receiver, but how can you evolve the offense in a way that highlights him and also still maintains the Alabama?
Yeah, man. Who's the best quarterback in Alabama history?
A.J. McCarron?
That's what I was going to say, and that's not super dynamic. He had amazing wide receivers, and most of them play on Sundays still, or used to at a very high level.
Or is it Tua? He's got one.
I don't know, maybe. I like A.J. McCarron.
I'll probably take A.J., but when you look at those A.J. McCarron teams, that wasn't the foundation. The foundation wasn't we're a quarterback team or we're a strong passing team. It's this front seven is better than anyone else in college football.
And that's what's going to be interesting with DeBoer. Does this become high-flying attack? Is this the UW offense with Michael Penix, but in Alabama colors? Because if so, that could be a big problem in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a big problem in the SEC.
Yep.
Here's the game: East Carolina,
win.
Kentucky at Kentucky,
win.
I'll take the win.
I'll take it.
Home against Florida State. Don't step in that again. Home against South Carolina.
I'll take South Carolina to steal one.
I'm not going to.
If you're going to
I think
lose one to Florida State last year, I think you're going to drop an early one somehow this year just because you're not prepared.
At Mississippi State.
That's a win.
I'm at 5. You're at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Home against Georgia.
No.
I'm out on that too. At Tennessee.
Yes.
I will go there as well.
No.
There's 6. Home against Texas A&M.
That's a really big question for me. You said at home?
At home.
In Tuscaloosa?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the win for Alabama.
I'll go with you as well. I'll give them the home field advantage. Then they're on the road they get a bye. Then they're at LSU.
No.
I don't like that either.
No.
Then you go at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. Chattanooga.
There's your
in your bye week. And then Auburn. I have them at 10 wins.
I've got them at 8.5.
Yeah.
8.5 because that Iron Bowl is always a fun one.
But see what I mean? Like, you're at 8.5. I'm at 10. I have no idea what Vegas odds are. I could probably look them up. But, like, this is the most unknown, the most hard to predict.
8.5.
8.5. The most hard to wrap my freaking brain around what this Alabama team looks like. Because I don't think DeBoer's figured out the identity down there yet.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, and not in a bad way. It's going to take time. You can't be Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban already did the Nick Saban thing.
I just think that you have to figure out what the identity is and then really drive that home. Because that's the only way that Alabama fans and the Alabama faithful are really going to get behind you is if you stamp your name on the project and it does well. Because if you stamp your name on the project and it blows up in your face, well, see you, Kalen DeBoer. You're gone. They'll let you know.
They'll let you know in a hurry, too.
Mm-hmm.
They'll let you know in a hurry. We come back. It's Web Gems, everybody's favorite. You cut your hair, bro? I guess. I mean, I cut my hair, too. That's next. 105.1 FM, 1080 AM.
The biggest.
right, this is everybody's favorite Web Gems. Do it every single day at 11:45. Coming up at the Big Nooner. Getting some preseason injuries in the NFL. This Jed York situation is hilarious. And we'll circle back on a little bit of Deshaun Watson conversation and what to do with starters that you don't want in the NFL. And is there a parachute to get you out of that somehow? But Web Gems brought to you from over the pond in the English Premier League. No, I'm not going to inundate you with footy today. But it's more the idea of the icon becoming a little less iconic. The great Erling Haaland, Braut Erling Haaland, did the unthinkable. And he shaved his head. Now, usually I don't pay attention to people's haircuts. As somebody that doesn't have hair, I try not to judge people based on what they do with the top. However, it's twofold. One, you're a pretty iconic look, amigo. You just had the entire world get introduced to who you are. People who don't even like soccer know who you are because of that beautiful head of hair you have. And you decide to shave it. The other thing about it, too, that freaks me out is I've seen some guys do this in other sports, and it just throws their whole equilibrium off. You remember how good Andrew McCutcheon was? Excuse me. That guy was...
Dreaded Cutches.
That guy was incredible. Won an MVP. He was so good. He shaved his dreads and was never the same.
I'll give you another one. Vladdy Jr.
Vladdy Jr. Also not the same. Having a tough season right now. Like, this is a real thing. It's not about look. It's not about brand necessarily for Haaland, but it's like, it's the weight. It's just the equilibrium. You're used to your head feeling a certain way. Now, I watched a lot of that Man City-Bournemouth game over the weekend, and Haaland wasn't terrible by any means. I'm not saying he stunk, but he wasn't the Erling Haaland we know and love. Now, there's a lot more going on at Man City than there's a lot to be seen, remain to be seen from this Man City squad post-Pep. But that worries me, that Haaland won't have his magic anymore. And this is the great Zlatan on his haircut.
Get on the camera.
Oh, what are you doing? What do you do? Oh my God, what the is this? You lost a bet or what? Oh my God, block me and erase my number, my friend. My wife says you're crazy. I will be honest with you. I'm always honest. You're gonna be faster now, what?
I hope so.
Erase my number.
I have Zlatan. What do you mean?
I love the idea of Zlatan just being like, you are stupid.
People related Haaland to Zlatan.
Mm-hmm.
And now they can't.
No.
Well, if I'm Zlatan, I'd take a little bit of offense to it.
I know. I wonder why he did it. I wonder what's the reason behind it. Is
because Haaland wants to be his own player.
Because, yeah, he doesn't want to be.
You don't want to draw the comparisons immediately because you still want to be your own player.
Oh, do you think that he was going to get stuck in the shadow of Zlatan Ibrahimovic?
I think there was a part of him that felt that. Maybe it's not 100% there, but there was a lot of coverage on Zlatan, who was not playing on the World Cup, versus Erling Haaland. Again, Haaland got a lot of love.
They also come from countries that neighbor each other.
There could be a little bit of rivalry there.
Two countries right there, Norway, Sweden. Definitely a little bit of rivalry. There.
Again, we're so quick to make comparisons in sport. Haaland's only comparison that really people could think of was Zlatan. But Zlatan was right on the broadcast every single day, kind of taking some shine off of Haaland. Am I wrong there?
I don't know. I guess I never thought about comparing the two of them together because of the iconic hair. It just felt like you are Norwegian, you are big, white, and blonde, and that is your moneymaker marketability-wise. Because anybody that watched the World Cup and found out Erling Haaland exists, it's like, where you been? We've been watching this dude wreck the Premier League for a few years now. But sometimes it takes that national stage. And now you're going to mess with it? Easy. It scares me a little bit. This texter, Andre Agassi with hair, phenomenal. Then he went bald and declined. You got to be careful, man. If you have it, look at the opposite, though, exists if you're Shaka Smart. And I love Shaka Smart, but I'm really mad at Shaka Smart. Shaka was a better coach when he was bald.
Was Tom Brady better with the long hair or with the short hair? Because that one's a tough one.
Both. Short, probably.
Kind of both.
But the short hair came with a bunch of facial reconstruction,
But that's,
too.
again, post that.
Yeah.
So you're already having a little confidence boost there.
Look, I hope Erling stays the same top-level player that he always is, because I think he's so fun to watch. But the hair, the flowing hair, when he was running down the field was just amazing.
He's still going to be super iconic. I mean, you can't take this away.
It's the truth. Absolutely the truth. All right, we come back. The Big Nooner is next. Back to the NFL on Portland Sports Leader 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Cleveland Browns will open the season with quarterback Deshaun Watson as their Week 1 starting quarterback. This decision comes amidst Watson's tumultuous relationship with the Cleveland fan base and his ongoing quarterback battle with backup Shadur Sanders. Browns are slated to start the season on the road in Jacksonville, taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Some more NFL news for you as Seattle Seahawks rookie safety Bud Clark broke his ankle in Seattle's Sunday night 1916 preseason loss to the Tennessee Titans, and he will be out for multiple months. Clark, a second-round selection out of TCU, was primed to add some key depth to the Seahawks secondary and will now miss most of his rookie season. Head coach Mike McDonald also told reporters that backup offensive lineman Mason Richmond also sustained a major injury that will keep him sidelined for the long term. According to Adam Schefter, the Patriots are sending wide receiver Kayshon Boutte to the Texans in exchange for safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th-round pick. And finally, over to the WNBA as your Portland Fire fell to the Washington Mystics 105-100 last night. Shakira Austin leading the way for the Mystics. She finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the contest. Fire are back in action tomorrow night as they take on the Dallas Wings on the road for a 5 p.m. tip-off. But make sure to catch all of tomorrow's game coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 4:45. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday with
Two down, one to go here. The firm of Harris and Marang. It's the big nooner. We do this show every single Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you for being a part of our day. We are stoked to be a part of yours. Danny Marang will be back on Thursday, so it's just me and Case for the next 3 days. Joe Fisher will join us tomorrow, so we'll have an old school hot corner style party here. Side note real quick, I'm watching Fulham Chelsea, and Chelsea just scored a goal in the first 30 seconds of the game.
That quickly?
Yeah, dude.
Just 4 touches and then goal?
Yeah, João Pedro. Just said, give me the ball.
Tough
Give me the ball. Wow. And he's onside. Yeah, well done. After us, we'll toss it to Duck Insider from 1 to 2. Then it's the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson from 2 to 3. And then it's prime time, baby. 3 to 7, finishing up 13 hours of live, local, continuous regional sports talk radio. It starts in the morning with Dirt and Sprague. My favorite morning show. I'm a P1 of that show, and you should be as well. A lot to get to this hour. We will talk about an owner in the NFL doing some weird things, preseason injuries as well. But a little bit of circle back around on this Deshaun Watson story that we opened the show with, which if you missed, you can go back and check out on the Fan Podcast. Now, Watson just came out and says he regrets his fan comments, of course. Let's see if I can find this quote. Where did it go? Not important, but he did get to the podium and apologize today. But it got me kind of thinking about living in the world of the NFL when you have a quarterback that, whether you've invested capital, draft capital, fiscal capital, what do you do in a situation when you no longer want them? There's a couple of those situations. Miami took the way out last year by cutting Tua Tagovailoa. That was the route they wanted to go. Looks like the Browns are going to throw Deshaun Watson out there, and that's
Obviously,
the route.
You saw how it worked for the Denver Broncos with the Russell Wilson debacle and what that ended up turning into.
They had to play that out. Cleveland is going to go with Deshaun Watson. They're going to let that play out because they don't want to take the hit that Miami took. It'd be a bigger hit than what Miami took. You also have a situation in Minnesota as well, in J.J. McCarthy, who could be QB4 on that roster. And where you drafted him, the window your team is in right now, the possibilities your team has right now, it's never easy to know when or how.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do when you can't have this guy anymore and you have to move on? Cardinals did it with Kyler Murray. They were like, dude, we're done.
Cardinals did it with Josh Rosen.
We're done. We're done with this. Oh, yeah. They did it with Matt Leinart. They had Josh Rosen and Matt Leinart for 10 seconds, and we're like, nope, moving on. So I don't know the route to go. I don't know what's the best route to go when you got guys that just can't play. J.J. McCarthy's one of them. Deshaun Watson.
You just have to try to get him at the best value that you could possibly get him at. And when does J.J. McCarthy get valuable again? I think that's the biggest issue is right now you're holding on to an asset and his value is only just depleting.
And maybe that's why I'm a little quick to, stick up for guys like Bryce Young, where I'm kind of like, okay, let's hold up for a second. Is Bryce Young a world beater? No, not at all. But I'd rather have Bryce Young than any of those quarterbacks that I've mentioned since this segment started.
And you also saw what Bryce Young is starting to do in Carolina once you added pieces with him.
Without a doubt. Is he Peyton Manning? No. Is he Michael Vick? No. What is he a true pocket passer? Is he dual threat? No, not really.
But there is glimmers of hope there that you saw with Tedero McMillan and Bryce Young.
For sure. And if I'm Carolina, there's still a lot to kind of think about and be curious about in the future. If you decide to lock up Bryce Young, is it worth paying him 40, 50 mil? I don't think he's not going to get, Matt Stafford money. But is he worth the same amount of money as Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold? I don't know. That's a tough call, but here you are in a window with the possibility and the the ability to do something fun. If you're Minnesota, I think Minnesota is probably in the situation best of anybody, okay? Carson Wentz is a solid backup, going to be a career backup for a long time. Carson Wentz paid the ultimate price for you last year. Mm-hmm. That guy went out there and got destroyed and sat on a bench and basically cried because he knew he was thrown to the wolves and he knew he was going to get hurt because of it. Max Brosmer, not a good quarterback. Better than J.J. McCarthy. And you're rolling out Kyler Murray. Now, that's where it gets tricky, though, because you never want to give up on that asset. Dude, we run into this with the Blazers, okay? And everybody that tells me, you can't trade Scoot, you can't trade Shaden, it's like, well, you can. You definitely can. And in some situations, you maybe should.
But you just need to make sure that you get back enough that's worth it.
Because if I'm the Cleveland Browns and I have J.J. McCarthy, bro, he's week one starter. Without a doubt. I got to see what I have. Because winning is not on the menu for tonight.
I just need to see what it looks like.
KOC and Minnesota, winning is on the menu tonight. Now, how do you want to get there? Do you want to get there eating a filet mignon, or do you want to eat like quesadillas with Taco Bell fire sauce, which is delicious and gets the job done? That's the world they're living in right now, and that's why they're probably going to let go of like a Max Brosmer or Carson Wentz, which I think would be stupid.
Who's the cheaper one?
Probably Brosmer, I would assume.
That's the guy you cut.
So you cut that guy because you keep JJ in the possibility that he turns it around. But I don't know if you saw Kevin O'Connell's comments over the weekend about J.J. McCarthy. They asked him about it, and he was like, the defense was great today. It's like, uh-oh. This guy knows. And so how do you know when it's time to move on is the question I keep asking.
I think that's the most difficult question. Again, my team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, struggled with that the absolute most, where now we're dealing with the repercussions of a quarterback that we could not let go. That's the tough thing. When you have someone that's really valuable, it's hard to let them go. When you have someone who's not valuable, it's hard to let them go because of what they could potentially turn into.
And everybody's scared. Everybody's scared if Sam Darnold just lifted the Lombardi Trophy. Like, that is terrifying. But we've also seen some of the all-time greats, but they had kind of better ways to get out of it. Peyton Manning was shipped out of Indianapolis because he got hurt. And then they got Andrew Luck out of it. And I think they were like, thank you. Appreciate you, Peyton. You'll be in the Ring of Honor someday. But we're moving on.
But they're definitely salty in how Andrew Luck just had to walk away.
True. Look at Tom. They chose Bill. That was a bad choice.
Bill chose Jordan.
Yep. And Tom went to Tampa and got himself another ring. It's that fear of letting go. But I think it is better to take the risk of letting go than taking the risk of hanging on too long.
I kind of live in both camps.
Okay. Both can be true?
Both can be true.
Back that up.
You don't want to hang on to Kenny Pickett.
But you didn't hang on to Daniel Jones.
No. New York hung on for probably as long as they could until, what was it, the third coaching change?
True. That can be part of it as well. You're looking at stability.
Quarterbacks are very, very interesting because you hope that they're constantly evolving their game. Guys that aren't, you see them get bounced from the league very quickly.
And I might have thought that way a couple years ago about Dak Prescott in the sense of like, I don't know if Dak's got it, but his last 2 years he's been wildly productive.
That's a guy that still throws for 4,000 yards.
This is the best Dak Prescott we've ever seen, in my opinion. He's the smartest. He's the most accurate. So that's one that they hung on to and were rewarded for. Is Tyler Shuck going to be a reward in New Orleans? Or is Tyler Shuck a stopgap? You know? Malik Willis. Are you going to hit on Malik Willis? Or is that just to get you Dante or Arch? Is Cam Ward going to do it? How long do you hang on to Cam Ward? Because here's the other thing. If the Carolina Panthers didn't make the playoffs last year, despite having a sub-500 record, is Bryce Young back this year? I don't know that question.
Take the Anthony Richardson situation. A guy who was slated to be a week 1 starter, and Indianapolis Colts had to scramble, and they scrambled and got really lucky that they got a guy in Daniel Jones who was ready to revitalize his career.
But then when they really needed a quarterback most, and I know Richardson was hurt, they got Phillip Rivers, and I actually thought Phillip Rivers played better than Anthony Richardson would.
He did. He was able to run the offense in ways that Anthony Richardson didn't, because Anthony Richardson doesn't take care of the ball as well.
And that's the other thing. Like, when does Indianapolis cut bait on that? You know? Hey, did you see Jalen Milroe?
Again, do you hope that asset holds on just in case? Do you hold on to that asset in case a guy like Daniel Jones goes down and Riley Leonard's unable to step up to the plate? Or do you see what value you can get out of it as of right now, which is probably less than the value you'd probably get out of it in the offseason or even 10 weeks down the line?
Because if I'm a Seahawk fan, dude, Milroe, you got to go. You got to go. That guy ain't got it. But
that's still so early.
But you have the roster flexibility with it. Drew Lock's your backup. Sam's your starter. That's all cemented. So you can have Milroe as your third and figure that out when you need to figure it out. But what's the future of quarterback in Minnesota? Like, can I trade all of these to you guys and you give me one legit guy back? Does that work?
Hope for a draft pick, potentially.
Yeah, because if you're in Cleveland, man, you don't care if Deshaun's terrible this year. You're going to be terrible no matter who's the quarterback there.
And you still probably going to have a top 15 pick anyway.
Yeah,
so
and you're probably going to take
of hope at the end of the year.
You're probably going to take another quarterback, and then your quarterback room next year is, Taylon Green and Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders and Arch Manning, and have fun with that. But if you're a team like the Vikings, if you're a team like the Colts, if you're a team like the Panthers, you got to make them choices right now. Because that QB is what's going to set you away. Minnesota could win this division easily.
And I think that's why Carolina inked up Bryce Young for the long term, is because they look around the rest of the league and go, we don't want to be in this position.
Right.
Because the position where everyone else is in, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Indianapolis Colts, the Minnesota Vikings, that does not seem like a safe place to be.
No, it doesn't. What if Baker leaves Tampa?
Mm-hmm.
If Baker leaves Tampa, you're in big trouble.
People only get fired when you lose.
What if Michael Penix goes down with an injury? You're in big trouble. We don't even have to talk about Arizona. That's all right. That's DOA, dead on arrival.
Yep.
But look what happened to Denver last year. Bo went down, and they no-showed in an AFC championship game. It's tough. It's a tough world out there. We come back. Let's dance through preseason as some injuries have piled up. We'll look for some teams and see what the scare level is for some of these squads. We'll do that next. That's Casey over there. I'm Patrick. 105.1 The Fan.
The Portland.
September 19th at Veterans Memorial Coliseum, you can see the world-famous band Journey. Veterans Memorial Coliseum. We have a pair of tickets to give away. You can listen Monday through Friday during this show for the code word. Text it in to 503-864-6326 for your chance to win. The tickets are courtesy of AEG Presents. You can head over to 1051thefan.com for complete details. But if you text Journey, Journey, to 503-864-6326 now, it'll put you in for a chance to win a pair of tickets to Journey on September 19th, 2026 at Veterans Memorial Coliseum. If you don't want to play the roulette, tickets are on sale now at rosequarter.com. That's Journey. Hanging out here in the NFL for a little bit as injury bug has started to kind of bite a little bit in preseason. I feel though we've been lucky, Casey, of not like really giant, terrible ones yet. We've kind of gotten away with it.
Yeah, we've had a few bumps and bruises, and
Jake Bobo stinks.
Guys that will get sat down, but nothing major.
No, we have not seen a quarterback blow a knee. We have not seen a D lineman break a leg. You know, we've been, knock on wood, we've been pretty fortunate with that, which is all you can ask for, really.
Relatively. I have to say relatively, because there are still a lot of teams who took some hits this offseason that will impact them in the season.
Yeah, and let's start right there. The Seattle Seahawks, they lose Bud Clark last night to a broken ankle, I believe it was, but he was instantly put in an air cast and carted off the field. That really stinks for their depth. That's something I think has been the biggest conversation, at least what you and I talk about off the air when we talk about.
When, Nick Emanwari, he's had that little bit of kind of that cleanup surgery on his ankle. He's been limited this offseason. You just want to see people be healthy.
Right. And again, I don't want to poo-poo on Bud Clark, but it's not D Spoon. Okay, you're not losing Weatherspoon right now. And Jake Bobo, while Jake Bobo stinks, if you're a Seahawk fan to lose Jake Bobo, Atlanta didn't just lose Kyle Pitts. Like guys that are absolutely crucial. But for Seattle, that's the biggest conversation I think we've had in the offseason in how hard it is to repeat in the NFL and what their chances are. We think their chances are pretty good, but their biggest question is going to be depth. And losing Bud Clark for 2-3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, where you're going to have to plug and play, guys, that's going to be the biggest issue.
The scariest one, we did get a pretty big scare out of over this weekend in the NFL, is Ashton Genty went down for the Las Vegas Raiders. When I first read this, there were talks that practice had kind of halted for a moment and people kind of huddled around and things looked pretty bad. Looks like it's just a sprained ankle.
Yeah, high ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain. That's fantastic because I'll tell you what, when I hear that Ashton Genty has gone down, I am panicking if I'm a Raiders fan. Because while I don't think the Raiders are going to be very good this year, and I think Raider fans can admit that as well, there should be some signs of life there, though.
That offensive line got a lot better.
I feel like
had the best center in the NFL in Tyler Lindenbaum. You pair him next to Jackson Powers-Johnson, who's developing as a guard, who was a center in college. That O-line's going to start to look really good.
And dare I say, the Raiders could be, they could be like the Saints of last year. Hey, I think they might have a quarterback. Hey, they rattled off a couple wins there. Hey, this team ain't too damn bad.
God, this team's a few pieces away from having a real big opportunity in this division.
Exactly, and I think if you were to lose Ashton Genty, that would kind of reverse a lot of that kind of nice goodwill going forward.
But I think that's one that you're not necessarily worried about. You're just precautionary. Because they also drafted Mike Washington Jr., running back out of Arkansas. That's a big boy back there. Mike Washington Jr. is not a small back. He's going to give defenses a little bit of hurt because you're going to have to tackle Ashton Genty and Mike Washington. He's going to beat up on your linebackers. That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody I missed. Well, Jamal Adams is done.
I've got a handful of them.
Okay, hit me.
Jaden Higgins, the Texans wide receiver, he suffered a left ACL tear alongside center for the Chargers, Tyler Biotish.
Oh, that's right. Another O-lineman for the Chargers goes down.
The Higgins injury, that's why you're seeing the Kayshon Boutte move to he's now with Houston from the Patriots for Jalen Reed. That one makes sense to me because, well, you lose a really strong route runner in Jaden Higgins who gave you 3 to 4 catches a game of let me just get this offense prepared and let it really start firing on all cylinders. You don't miss that with Kayshon Boutte. You also have Jalen Walker. He is the Falcons' defensive end. He suffered a season-ending torn ACL on August 4th. Ricky Purcell, he's ruled out for the year after undergoing PCL surgery. Laramie Tunsil, he's expected to miss most all of the season with a torn tricep.
Yeah, I remember hearing that and kind of going, ooh, ah.
Yeah, that's a big hit, especially for a quarterback who's coming off of injury. To lose your left tackle before you've played week 1, that's
tough. A lot of expectations there, but out of respect to the number 5, I won't mention it. Jordan Tyson, the rookie Saints receiver, he's got a severe hamstring injury, expects to miss 2 months. Gross. I really wanted to see what he'd do, giving Tyler Shuck a weapon down there and Jordan Tyson. Plus, Jordan Tyson was the one. Now, it turns out that it's probably Mekhi Lemon is the one that I'm more concerned about as far as rookie wide receivers go. But remember, Jordan Tyson, everybody was worried about what goes on between the eyeballs in that guy's head. So we won't get to see him right away. But Jamal Adams goes down, season-ending knee injury. That's brutal, but I think Jamal Adams, his time in the NFL has probably passed him by. Good news if you're a Jets fan, Breece Hall should be ready to go by week 1. A groin strain. But again, dude, if you're a Jets fan, man, you got to start thinking about, like I was just talking about the Raiders. Like, you may not have your quarterback. It's not going to be Geno. It's not. But can that defense play better? There are some weapons on the offense. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson are good players. They're really good players. Can you see the Jets kind of make that little bit of push? But they're going to need Breece Hall. And if that soft tissue stuff, that groin strain, if that sticks with him for the season, that's going to be a big issue.
They don't have an identity yet.
No, they don't.
They're still figuring it out under Aaron Glenn, and we don't know if Aaron Glenn's going to even be there for the long term. We just have to see what those first few weeks look like.
Sure. Question. Can you have an identity if you don't know who your quarterback is?
Yes.
Yeah?
As long as your identity isn't around that.
Like Cleveland's identity is that they can't figure out a quarterback?
Because the Steelers' identity has always been defensive.
Yeah. Because take Seattle, for example. We'll go back to them. Sam's not top 5 quarterback, but Sam's a quarterback.
Their identity is defensive as well.
Yeah, but Sam is a quarterback. Like, he's a real deal quarterback, and he's their at least in the next 3 years plan. But, yeah, I'm curious. Does Minnesota have an identity?
KOC is very much a defensive-minded, especially coming – Minnesota's always kind of had the defensive – aspect of just their identity as a organization. They're also an organization that likes to surround their team with elite receivers.
That's true.
So that's the one I look at, where a strong receiving core with a really dangerous front seven, that sounds like a Minnesota team.
And your identity can be a coach. Look at the Lions. Their identity is Dan Campbell.
And when has Minnesota ever had a quarterback who has dyed in the wool?
Kirk?
Was Kirk dyed in the wool in Minnesota?
No.
Dante Culpepper?
I was about to say Dante.
Was he dyed in the wool?
No.
Then he wouldn't have bounced from team to team. Tavares Jackson?
Randall?
Probably Randall, but do people think of Randall more as a Minnesota Viking or as more of a Philadelphia Eagle?
Fran Tarkenton. That is your greatest quarterback in Minnesota history.
Or it's Favre.
Or it's Brett Favre.
At the end of his career.
That's true. Brett Favre in Minnesota is pretty damn good. Problems are brewing in the Bay, but is it a problem if you're an owner? I don't know. It's still against the law. Jed York is next. That's Casey over there with sports.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, Cleveland Browns will open the season with quarterback Deshaun Watson as their Week 1 starting quarterback. The decision comes amidst Watson's tumultuous relationship with the Cleveland fan base and his ongoing quarterback battle with quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Browns are slated to start the season on the road in Jacksonville, taking on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Some more NFL news for you, as the Seattle Seahawks rookie safety Bud Clark broke his ankle in Seattle's Sunday night 1916 preseason loss to the Tennessee Titans, and he will be out for multiple months. Clark, a second-round selection out of TCU, was primed to add some key depth to the Seahawks secondary and will now miss out on most of the season. Adam Schefter reports that The Patriots are sending wide receiver Kayshon Boutte to the Texans in exchange for safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th-round pick. More coming across on the Deshaun Watson, as Browns starting quarterback Deshaun Watson has apologized for his post-game comments Saturday, calling, as he called fans, disrespectful for booing him. Over to the WNBA as your Portland Fire fell to the Washington Mystics 105-100 last night. Shakira Austin leading the way for the Mystics. She finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the contest. Fire are back in action tomorrow night as they will take on the Dallas Wings on the road for a 5 p.m. tip-off. Make sure to catch all of tomorrow's game coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 4:45. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the firm of Harris.
Closing arguments coming up next to send you on your way. But we'll finish up here in the NFL. Boy, today's been a fun show. It kind of flew by already. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just come back here tomorrow and do it all over again. Do it all over again. Casey and I have a great idea that we're going to launch on Wednesday for you all. in terms of college football.
Bit of news for you.
Okay, hit me.
Timbers goalkeeper James Pantemis named to MLS Team of the Match Day for his 10-save performance in Portland's 1-1 road draw against LAFC.
The boy who lived, James Pantemis. That's what we call him after. What was that game? Was it the Dallas game when he took the cleat to the face?
I want to say it was it Dallas or was it Columbus?
I can't remember now. But he took that cleat to the face, and it's like a mix of Harry Potter's scar and Anakin Skywalker's scar. He's
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. He's still got that, dude. I was talking to
Sorry, that was the 2024 one.
No. He has one this season in 2026. I swear it's against Dallas. Houston Dynamo. Okay, so I knew it was Texas. I was talking with my homies over there because I haven't seen James like up close in a while. I was asking my homies up there at the park, and I was like, does he still got a scar? And they were like, oh yeah. Feel bad for the guy.
Oh yeah, it's still there.
But dude, James Pantemis is absolutely fantastic. He's been one of the best goalies in the MLS this year.
He's a freaking stud.
And I think what stinks is because he only has one clean sheet, people who aren't watching the Timbers aren't seeing how good James Pantemis has been. And that's really unfortunate for him because, sure, yeah, the team has given up a lot of goals, a little less of late.
It's just a bigger indictment on the back line for the Timbers.
Exactly, and should you hold that against the goalie if the back line is becoming more susceptible to goals? Now, of late, back line's been pretty solid, I thought. They weathered that storm against LAFC. That could have gone sideways real quick in that game. And to finish 1-1 is kind of a nice indication of kind of Marti and where that squad's going. I'm happy about it.
I think they're in the right direction.
One thing that Phil Neville said that I completely agree, and it's pretty straightforward if you watch soccer for everybody. If you win at home and you draw on the road, you're going to be a very good team. You're going to be a very good team. And that's kind of the Timbers right now. There's some in there, and remains to be seen. Austin this weekend should be a dub.
But they're evolving their identity.
Them dubs, but they are evolving their identity. Congratulations to James Pantemis, my guy, for getting on that. That's Timber. That's two Timbers in a row. 2 weeks in a row, Timbers making the MLS match day because Christopher Velda did it as well. The situation brewing out of the Bay, or dare I say, East Ohio, is very interesting as San Francisco owner Jed York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges Monday after being arrested in Ohio on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. He was arraigned to have sexual activity with a female at a trailer for $140.
I'm going to need that man down drop.
Man down, 11:30. Pip in distress.
He used a meeting with the cell phone he used to arrange. That's when he was arrested because he showed up at the meeting location, and that's where they were able to track him. The police report was filed by the East Palestine Police Department Sunday at 9:35 a.m. at the Wheat Hill Mobile Home Community. Now, the East Palestine Police assisted the Mahoning Valley Human Trafficking Task Force in York's arrest. This has got a lot of that like Robert Kraft things, kind of sticky situation involved with the massage parlor. But this is one thing that I'll still just never understand. Bro, you are rich. What are you doing in Eastern Ohio running a prostitution ring?
Take a lady out to dinner, pal.
No kidding, man. No kidding, dude.
The part where it's mentioned the criminal tools aspect of it, I looked this up. In online or phone-based police stings, a mobile phone used to text, call, or negotiate a commercial sex agreement is frequently charged as a criminal tool. So the phone, the car that he drove in, those are the devices defined as criminal.
Yeah, it's literally any kind of device that could be used to commit a crime. Now, you would think that would be like a crowbar or wire cutters.
Criminal tools, I go, this dude had rope in his trunk?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, like, is he going to go rob a bank? Like, is that what's going on? But you're right. In today's age, a phone is a tool to be used to commit a crime.
It says police frequently seize the device and any cash involved in the transaction, which may be forfeited or ordered returned depending on the final plea or court outcome.
He sentenced to 1 day in jail for each charge, with 1 day already considered to be served, so he's got one more to go. He is from Youngstown, Ohio. But the thing is look, innocent until proven guilty. Well, I mean, I think you were trying to get a hooker, which is fine. I'm somebody that believes we should legalize sex work because it would create less issues like human trafficking. But I think that might be the problem that we're running into here.
Especially in this political space.
Yes,
currently.
yes. This might be something more than just trying to get some sugar for $140. There might be a little more behind what's going on in East Palestine, Ohio.
NFL statement from NFL PR guy on the arrest of 49ers owner Jed York. We are aware of the matter, which will be reviewed under the personal conduct policy. And as this is a legal matter which has been resolved, we will not be providing any further comment at this time. That is from the statement of 49ers owner Jed York.
Yeah, and I don't really know what's going to happen to him, if I'm being honest. Like, the guy who rains down punishment is the guy that works for them. So, like, this is a whole big nothing burger. It's just the classic rich white guy gets away with rich white guy crimes. I just hope that there's not more involved in this. I just hope the dude was randomly in Ohio, decided, you know what, I want some sugar, and I only want to spend $140 because billionaires, you don't get rich by giving your money away. I like to believe that he was just looking for some action for a cheap date. However, I don't know why the owner of the San Francisco 49ers is in Eastern Ohio trying to get sugar for $140. Dude, you could pay someone $140 to drive you to Vegas. Go to Reno. You just get to Nevada, baby. Go to LA, dude. Even if it's illegal in LA.
What's the NFL's punishment for this?
I don't know. I don't think there is. Was Robert Kraft suspended at all? I don't remember. You know, that'd be the real question. Because that is precedent. But Robert Kraft, I feel like all we did with Robert Kraft was just create memes and laugh and make jokes and make fun of him. Because he's like a crusty old white dude.
Robert Kraft never faced a suspension or official punishment from the NFL following his 2019 misdemeanor charge for soliciting prostitution.
Yep, see, this is the exact same situation. It's misdemeanor charges. There's no felony charge. Now, if
prosecutors dropped the solicitation charges against Kraft in September of 2020 due to lack of usable evidence.
Oh, there you go. I wonder what happened there. All of a sudden, nobody wanted to talk.
Judge later ordered the unlawful video recordings to be destroyed.
Now, that could be true. That could be true. If this becomes something bigger, and I'm not saying it is, just saying there's a lot of suspicious things running around here in this situation. If it's worse than this, the hammer could come down.
I just hope that
if you are caught up in prostitution, trafficking, all that goes along in there, because there's probably drugs and illegal money and probably firearms, all that kind of stuff, baby, you don't own the 49ers
Again,
anymore.
when you live in that world, all the stuff that surrounds that world can get very dark and depraved.
Yeah. And it's just, I want to talk to all you billionaires out there. All you billionaires listening to this show. First of all, thank you. My wife likes steak frites. I'm like a Viet kind of guy if we want to go to dinner.
I'm a ribeye guy myself.
Yeah. I'll take a tomahawk if you really want me to, sure. That's what scares me, why there's so much more to this. Because when you're worth that much money, you should never get a DUI. When you're worth that much money, you should never get arrested. You should never be in a fight at a bar. You should never be assaulting your spouse, your children. Like, money gives you so much privilege. And I think because of that, some people take that privilege for granted and go a little too far and try to see how close to the sun they can go.
Again, but they're also human at the same time.
Sure.
They are going to make mistakes. They are going to divulge in
sin of some sort.
Exactly. And you just have to be careful.
Yeah. You got dollars.
Understand what's at stake.
Yeah, you got dollars, man. You use them. Flash it around. You have so much. You will never be. If you're telling me that $400 hookers are going to be the downfall of you instead of $140 hookers, not in East Ohio, not potentially some sort of trafficking situation, if that is going to break your bank, dude, then you shouldn't be buying hookers in the first place. That's what I always say, like tipping at a bar.
Again,
if you can't afford to tip, don't go out.
The NFL personal conduct policy explicitly states conduct by anyone in the league that is illegal, violent, dangerous, or irresponsible puts innocent victims at risk, damages the reputation of others in the game, and undercuts public respect and support for the NFL. We must endeavor at all times to be people of high character. We must show respect for others inside and outside our workplace, and we must strive to conduct ourselves in ways that favorably reflect on ourselves, our teams, the communities we represent, and the NFL.
pair of misdemeanors. That's not dangerous. They'll let him go. Nothing will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen his mugshot?
Oh, yeah.
He looks terrible.
Yeah.
I like seeing billionaires like all unkept and then getting arrested for. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but
he's not.
I assume he's super rich.
He's not the greatest looking dude by any means. Again, but come on, man.
Jed York has an estimated personal net worth between $100 and $500 million. Whoa. His family's combined fortune is an estimated $8.5 billion. Yeah, because he's part of the DeBartolo family. Oh, well. We'll see you next time you get in trouble and don't have to take any repercussions for that. Closing arguments next. Send you on your way. 105.1 The Fan. All right, that's going to do it for us. Closing arguments are brought to you by Oregon Divorce Mediation Services, presented by our friends at Leskin Law. For more information, visit leskinlaw.com. Coming up on the program tomorrow, it is a free consultation Tuesday. We'll do that at 11:15. It's new home in hour number deuce. We'll do that tomorrow. Joe Fisher will join us in the studio for the 3 hours of the program tomorrow. My old buddy come back in, and we'll do it like we used to. We'll do it live like we used to. Look around the MLB schedule for you tonight. A lot of nice pitchers on the mound tonight. Not a ton of great matchups per se. Ranger Suarez for Boston. They need to keep rolling. Tampa Bay's in Detroit. Drew Rasmussen versus Framber Valdez should be a good shot of a game if you want to watch that. Cleveland, Parker Messick. He's going to make a start in L.A. against the Angels. Kevin Gausman needs to have a better showing for Chicago there in Arizona. Probably the best matchup of the day is the Philadelphia Phillies in Seattle tonight. Is Zach Wheeler on the bump versus Logan Gilbert. That should be a good matchup. And if you haven't seen Braxton Ashcraft pitch for Pittsburgh, he goes against Robbie Ray as Pittsburgh's in San Diego, and Chase Burns for Cincinnati as they're in San Francisco to take on the Gigantes. Not a full slate, but decent little baseball today. I'm excited about that. Let you all know I moved into third place in my fantasy league. Top 2 seeds get buys.
I'm
coming
just
for
counting
you.
down until Saturday.
Why? What's on Saturday?
Do we not have week 0?
Oh, football.
Oh yeah.
And well, you guys always want to poop on me when I want to talk about baseball.
It's not October yet. Call me in October.
See, that's the problem with you people.
My team hasn't played their 2 best players in months. I can't watch that.
I want to read a couple things that were on the text line from earlier that we didn't get to. Do not forget, this is about our quarterback conversations. Do not forget, most QBs need the correct OC QB coach to help them reach their potential. Most rookie QBs and most QBs don't as well. That comes from B-Rod, who also says, Panthers also brought in a QB offensive-minded head coach, but we'll see if they keep him. He's a short quarterback. Maybe Baker back to Carolina. Could be interesting.
I don't think Baker wants to go back to Carolina.
No, I don't think he's very happy with how that situation went down.
That's a lot of salt.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But the Baker thing is weird because I guess we got to see because we don't know. We don't know how, let's say, I'm trying to scratch through this. I mean, dude, Jalen Hurts could have a terrible year, and they would kill him in Philly. Minnesota could need a quarterback. Pittsburgh could need a quarterback. Cleveland for sure, but he's not going back to Cleveland. Houston could need a quarterback.
I'm not sold on that one.
No? You do love CJ.
He has brought them.
You do love CJ Stroud.
He has brought them to 2 playoff berths, and he had 1 bad game. That's tough. He had 1 bad game, and every one of his receivers was hurt. Not a healthy guy in that receiving core. So I give him the benefit of the doubt. This year will probably be the biggest indictment.
Yeah, probably.
But also, keep that same smoke for Justin Herbert. Keep that same energy.
You guys can't get away from this ever, can you?
What's the difference?
Baker could go to Arizona. They could use a quarterback. Yeah. Tennessee, maybe?
Tennessee, that's the one that I think is the question because Cam Ward has not looked good the preseason so far.
You know what's funny? Excuse me. You know the best place for Baker Mayfield is?
Probably right where he's at?
Probably Tampa Bay, yeah. Probably right where he's at. If I were them, I would try to figure that out.
I think you have to.
I think you have to as well.
You don't want to keep losing guys. That just doesn't... I mean, you think of that roster last year, you go, okay, it's Baker Mayfield, Vita Vea, Mike Evans, and Emeka Ibuka. Well, 2 of those guys won't be there anymore if Baker goes. So, I mean, that's not the direction I think you want to leave for your future.
Some other things to get to. It sounds like the Steelers are at an impasse with Joey Porter Jr. Just pay the man, I suppose, right?
Pay him. Oh, my God, pay the man.
How much money do they have available to pay him?
Not enough.
Yep.
That's
probably the problem. We got a lot of money tied up in that defense already.
Yeah, we got to hope that once we whittle it down to the 53-man roster, that we find a way to get him paid.
There's a really weird situation going on in Houston right now for the Houston Astros. Their general manager was relieved of duties. I'm not sure if he was fired or if he quit. I think he was just fired, relieved of duties. There are reports coming out that Joe Espada, the manager for the Houston Astros, has been notified that he will not be brought back next year, but it's his choice if he wants to finish the season or not as the manager. I don't know if you know this, but the Houston Astros are in first place in the American League West. Now, they're 65 and 66 in potentially the worst division in all of baseball, and that's saying something because my team plays in the Central. But that's a weird situation that we might have to get into later on this week. You're fired your GM, and you're told your manager you can't come back, and you could go to the playoffs?
Are you hoping that the result stays true with every team else that's fired their manager at the start of the year?
Do you know if the playoffs started right now, the Cleveland Guardians would take on the Houston Astros, and both those teams are 65 and 66?
Oh,
right?
God, the American League is struggling.
So bad, dude. So bad. So bad.
And how many games behind are those Seattle Mariners?
Seattle Mariners are 3 games back.
From the wild card.
From the division.
Oh, from the Astros in first?
Yes.
Okay.
From the division. See, they're 3 games back from the wild card as well, so you were correct on that. They just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in front of them for 3 spots, and the Red Sox and Yankees have 2 of those. So you've got 5 teams in front of you for 1 spot. I think that hill is going to be a little too steep to climb. Although the Seattle Mariners do have the easiest schedule throughout the rest of the regular season. My Cleveland Guardians at number 2. Tampa Bay Rays, they have the 5th hardest schedule from here on out.
Thank God for that. Thank God for that.
Dude, they're fun to watch, man. They're fun to watch. The first, last, and only time I will mention this, sources around the league say that Enes Kanter Freedom will not be eligible to play in the WNBA. And I would like to just say that that guy is an idiot. This whole situation is dumb. The WNBA looks really stupid in all of it. And more importantly, politicians are trying to put that over your head because they don't want to release files about the Epstein people. So that's all this is, okay? That's it. I'm done. Moving on.
I'm with you.
Such a dumb situation. Such a dumb situation.
I just don't know why we give light to stupidity some days.
Without a doubt. And that's the only light I will give to that, and we're moving on from there. Text line asking me if I'm drinking at work because I think Jalen Hurts. Dude, I don't know if you're paying attention. They don't like Jalen Hurts in Philly. It's a lot of money to buy him out or to cut him. They don't like Jalen Hurts in Philly. I like Jalen Hurts.
He's got one of them things.
I like Jalen Hurts a lot.
You got to give him the benefit
Philly
of the doubt.
fans
He's got one of them things.
Closing arguments are brought to you by Oregon Divorce Mediation Services, presented by our friends at Leskin Law. For more information, visit leskinlaw.com. Oregon Divorce Mediation Services, the alternative to divorce court. That'll do it for us. We will catch you mañana. Joe Fisher in the house for a Tuesday free consultation kind of show, my kind of style. For Casey Smith, I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something I would do.